across the plains. Hope rekindles in the crimson tide as freedom's anthem calls our names. Great again, we rise as one, under stars that guide our way. A song of promise has begun, and strength returns in light of day. Fields of dreams are ripe once more. Factories hum with honest pride. Our banner waves on every shore, with courage marching by our side. Great again, we rise as one, under stars that guide our way. A song of promise has begun, and strength returns in light of day. Through trials dark, we found our steel. The eagle's cry breaks through the night. In unity, our wounds now heal. We chase the dawn with fearless light. Great again, we rise as one, under stars that guide our way. A song of promise has begun, and strength returns in light of day.
Hey everybody, how you doing this week? How's everybody doing?
How are you doing, Rich?
Oh, I'm good. How are you? That's
Yeah,
the big
well,
question.
You
Yeah.
know, I usually answer that question by compared to what?
Yeah, really. What's up, sis? What's up, Chris? Good to see you guys. So you went through some stuff. Hey, Lisa, what's going on? Good to see you. Let's see. Who else is here? Yeah, everybody's still coming in. Chris says hi. What's up? Yeah, big week. Lots of news. Let's wait for a couple more people to get in. I have a long lost clip of the week, but it's not long and it's not lost, but it's it's something I want you guys to see. Let me see who else is here right now. Yeah, let me go over real fast some of the stuff we're going to talk about tonight. I mean, it's just like another fire hose. How was your week, Dr. Jade?
Well, it's been another week of exercises and physical therapy and just trying my best to walk.
Yeah, really.
So pretty
You
much
guys don't
there-
know, Dr. Jade had a surgery.
Yeah, I had a total knee
weeks ago.
replacement 3.5 weeks ago.
Yeah, and doctors
So-
make the worst patients. So, yeah. But you're all right now, though. Just a lot of pain from the physical therapy, right?
Well, the knee is very sore. It's very stiff. And therapy is, like I said to you earlier, it brings back memories of my time in a POW torture camp.
There you go.
Okay, guys, that last part may not be actually factual. So
Yeah, and she made that.
don't get too hung
the
up.
last
now.
part. Right. All right. Let me go over some of the stuff we're going to talk about tonight. The main stuff. Trump owned Davos. I don't know if you guys watched it or not, but oh my God, there's a lot of stories coming out of that. Don Lemon, his his position is so stupid that he better lawyer up, says Harmeet Dillon. As a matter of fact, we got one of the stories where one of the crazy guys, the guy that went in and started screaming at Christians, what kind of effing Christian are you? You're not standing up. You're not a Christian. F you and all that. Well, he does a video because he was vicious, right? He really was, and it was on Don Lemon's. It was on his video, right? Don Lemon's video was the most damning thing to all their cases, including Don Lemon. Now, a judge said that they couldn't charge Don Lemon, but the Justice Department said, we're going to find a real judge because, yes, we can, because he violated the FACE Act and he trespassed, because a lot of people don't understand that a church is private property. You're allowed to protest. Oh, you have a First Amendment right to protest, but you have to do it on public space, like a sidewalk, right? You can't go into it's like going into someone's house to protest. It's private property. You can't do it. And this weekend, that's the First Amendment. Idiot. Don Lemon. Well, that's what the First Amendment's all about. Okay. No, it really is.
Why is nobody saying the obvious when they say, oh, we have a First Amendment? The critical point there is that, yes, you have a First Amendment, but your exercise of rights does not allow you to trample somebody else's rights in so doing.
Exactly right.
And it's very simple. You go in there and exercise your First Amendment rights. If all you're doing is overpowering the pastor and using what's called the heckler's veto, that's not right.
Right. Hold on.
It's not how it works.
Yeah, I just put the link out for people on Facebook and Rumble and all that to come in if you want to talk on the chat. We only have the chat and StreamYard and on YouTube. So if you want to come in, we got more people coming in now. Now I'm going to go over right now some of these stories. Don Lemon's position, lawyer up. She says the World Economic Forum, the insiders admit what they once said was a conspiracy theory, or everything with them is a conspiracy. Parents who raised $170,000 by claiming ICE gassed their kids on the way home from a basketball game. They lied about the whole thing.
I hadn't heard that one. That'll be interesting.
Show us your shocked face.
Yeah, really.
There you go. There's your shocked face.
That's my shocked face right there.
Yeah.
I hadn't heard about that story. It'd be interesting to see what goes on.
So the walls are closing for Ilhan Omar. They really are, and her husband. They went from I think it was like $29,000 to $30 million in 1 year.
Over 4 years.
Fraud, who's all the fraud going on there? I mean, she's the one. Like, actually, Barack Obama's the one that set them all up for that. He sent 68,000 Somalis to Minnesota, and then he actually got the federal pipeline for money to go into Minnesota, so that they could find ways, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, they could find ways to get it to the Somali people there. And they just went total fraud. But for her, it's I think they have all the data that they need, all the evidence they need to denaturalize her and deport her.
Well, when's it going to happen? I'm still waiting. There's a bunch of people that I have yet to see in orange jumpsuits.
Right. And you won't for a little while, but a lot of stuff that's been going on is going on behind the scenes because it takes a lot to get these people out. Now, they could go after Trump with lies, and they threw lawfare at him. But on the other side, you got all the same goddamn judges that are lawfare judges for the Dems that you got to get past. So you got to cross every T, dot every I. Team Trump drops an unexpected bombshell in the birthright citizenship brief at the Supreme Court. Greg Jarrett from Fox News, he's the legal guy. He's pretty good. He explains why Don Lemon could still face charges. And he could, because, I mean, at least he could get trespassing, because he, on his own video, the pastor asked him to leave and he didn't leave. That's trespassing. And this guy right here, that's Keith Ellison. He's a piece of shit. He's the attorney general up in Minnesota, and he's the mastermind behind the massive Somali fraud scandal. Believe that the person, it's a woman, she's behind the whole one of the fraud scandals, and she believes that top state officials knew about the fraud. Now they're coming out and saying, for someone like her to say that, you're going to take her word at it. Well, I would take her word over anything any officials in Minnesota have to say, because they all lied about the fraud. They all knew it. In fact, there's one official, and she's a Republican, and she's running for governor, I believe, and She came out and said, like a couple of weeks ago, that 4 months prior to Nick Shirley going up there, she sent an entire report to Walz, to his office, to the governor's office, and said, look, there's all this fraud going on through the state. You need to do something about it. And he did absolutely nothing. He didn't even reply. There we go. Left wingers are trying to push an anti-ICE narrative, but here are the facts that they don't want you to know. Now, in case you don't know that, this is Eric Swalwell. I did this one in AI. Eric Swalwell. ICE, as it exists today, needs to be completely dismantled. Yeah, okay, Eric. Go for a ride along. That, you know, Trump should force him to go on a ride along if he wants to do it, or better yet, Speaker of the House should say, "I want all you Democrats that are against ICE go on ride-alongs with them into the Minnesota streets. Go ahead, just do it." Right? So
it wouldn't change their minds.
And here we go. Right there was. Get this. It says there was a judge who shut down Don Lemon's case against him. Said, "No, he can't do that." Well, here we go. Now we know the wife of the judge who shut down charges against Don Lemon is an assistant AG to Keith Ellison. Now you know. And the whole...
That's getting to be a little incestuous there, isn't it?
I know. The whole Jack Smith thing got exposed this week. The Dems are all like, yeah, we won. No, actually, you guys look like pathetic assholes. So this one's explosive. This is one of the best ones. Darrell Issa, who I love. It says, lights up Jack Smith for targeting political enemies, misleading judge in Arctic frost investigation. And Jamie Raskin just loses his mind. Jamie Raskin is like, how do I put this? He's like the best of the best at taking small clips of things that have nothing to do with each other, putting them all together and making it seem like he's making a case against something. Everything's completely out of context, like most Dems do, but he's a master at it. And you'll see him interrupting and on it. So Somalis are everywhere. A report exposes clusters of fraudulent Somali-run ghost healthcare companies in Maine. So now they're in California, they're in Washington State, Minnesota, obviously, and Maine. Now, how many more are there? Gavin Newsom grilled on Trump admin's insults. Treasury Secretary described him as Patrick Bateman meets Sparkle Beach Ken. That's funny. So Speaker Johnson, he backs an effort to impeach activist judges over an anti-Trump rulings. One of the, I think it's not going to be Burrow. It's going to be that Boasberg. I believe they're going after him because the Supreme Court told him you can't go outside your district. You can't do a nationwide thing. And so what he started doing was more nationwide rulings against Trump, just to be a dick, I guess. All right. So Al Gore, he booed Howard Lutnick of the administration during his Davos speech. And here's the actual what Lutnick said. It's funny as hell. And you're sitting there going, wait a minute, Al Gore, what the hell is he doing up there? So get this. Remember how all the politicians from Denmark were saying, we're never going to let him take over Greenland. It's never been done. Yeah, well, we bought the Virgin Islands from you guys. Remember that? So we're going to buy this as well. Well, guess what? Trump says he secured the Greenland deal that puts America first, and he announces a framework of future Arctic deal. So he got it done. So now they just got to work out the details, which we all knew it would happen, right? Here we go. The Clintons are finally facing some consequences. A House Oversight panel, they voted to advance contempt resolutions against the Clintons. And once they're found in contempt, they could refer them for criminal charges, just like they did on that phony, unconstitutional J6 committee when they put Steve Bannon and Peter Navarro in prison. Because they claimed exactly what they claimed. They claimed executive privilege, which they did have executive privilege from Trump. But they said, we don't want to hear that. We're throwing your ass. And Bannon was like, I hadn't been in the administration since 2017. Why am I here? But they didn't want to hear it. So we don't want to hear it with Hillary and Bill. There you go. You just can't win with these people. Liberals are now upset that ICE agents didn't separate a child from the parent. Now, ain't that a bitch? All along, they've been telling us, that you can't separate children. Well, the hell we can't. A judge told us to. A judge, actually, I think it was back in Clinton's days, the judge told them to. Because think about it. They want you, like if I get arrested, if I had a child in my car and I get arrested for DUI or I rob a store or something, right? They're not going to bring my kid with me into the cell. But these morons on the left, they just, and I think they know that. They just want to be able to bitch and scream and get people angry at them. That's pretty much it.
Yeah,
So,
if you get arrested and there's a kid involved, they call social services.
yeah, or else they find the next of kin, like
Yeah, but
their mother,
they usually, I think they usually let social services do that
Right.
unless the mother is right there.
Right.
Unless the partner is right there. And
sometimes in Philly, sometimes a detective will take the kid to the mother if they know the mother's at home and can't get out to the kid. Sometimes they'll do that.
yeah, I don't know if they will let like the other partner, like arrest the one driving, and if the other partner hasn't been drinking, let them take the car and the baby. I don't know.
Oh yeah. But they want you to see. In other words, they're always on the 80-20. They're on the 20. The Dems. So what you have is you have people saying, "Well, I want them to be with their parents in the jail cell with a bunch of other adults. Some of them could be violent at any given time. So you want little kids to be susceptible to a violent asshole inside of a cage with you, right? Is that what you're saying? Yeah, that's what they're saying. So anyway, moving on. Jim Jordan,
I can see it now. Guy gets arrested, goes to Riker, and they put his 8-year-old or 12-year-old daughter in the cell.
Yeah.
You see how that's going to work out well?
Oh, yeah, it's going to be great. Yeah. So Jim Jordan exposes Jack Smith's politically motivated witch hunt against President Trump. They went off on him. And the Dems were all like, you're a hero, sir. First of all, he wasn't appointed correctly. Merrick Garland did not go through the right way. Just like the woman that Pam Bondi kept in for another 120 days. She just left. She just stepped down. But it's the same thing. They didn't follow the rules either. So Jack Smith got all upset. And plus, the fact of the matter is they now have evidence that Jack Smith lied about a lot of shit. And here's the thing, guys. This is what nobody wants to ask, right? Why did the Biden administration, I'm having cough drops. That's what I constantly eat, guys. Why did the Biden administration choose Jack Smith? There's a little thing there. Jack Smith freaking hates Donald, hates him with a passion. You would think that, like an honest DOJ or AG, Merrick Garland, right? That they would say, we can't have him in there. Jesus Christ, he can make mistakes galore because he's like seething. They didn't care. What was he against him? Because he was an assistant U.S. attorney in New Orleans. And I think it was New Orleans. And the U.S. attorney, he was the top assistant U.S. attorney in that office. And the U.S. attorney was resigning. He was retiring, if you will, right? And when that happens, they usually take the top U.S. attorney and bump him up. But the president at that time said, no, the guy's a loose cannon. He got overturned 9-0 by the Supreme Court, and those guys can't even decide what's for lunch. They can't come to grips. But 9-0 they against him because he fabricated evidence, he withheld evidence, he broke the Brady law, the whole 9 yards, right? He just, what a scumbag. And that president put someone else over him. And he resigned in disgust and went over to The Hague for a while. But that president was Donald Trump, because Trump knew that he was a piece of crap for a prosecutor. And so now he has a hard on to go after Trump. And so that's what they wanted. Who can we get that really hates him, that we know breaks the law and we know doesn't follow the rules and gets all kinds of convictions, and we'll just bribe the judge or whatever, Oh yeah, Jack Smith. That's literally what that was. There we go. Anti-ICE radical. This is the woman that was in, she's like a Black Lives Matter chick, but she's the one that was the head of that group that stormed the church. So anti-ICE radical, there's your handcuff moment, Jay. Radical who took credit for the invasion of Minnesota church, arrested by the feds.
Yeah, we're getting a few sardines. I want to see some tuna.
Right. Well, this guy, yeah, but this other one, I was saying earlier, the guy that was like screaming at them and all that, right? Well, he goes and does his own video. And he's sitting there and he's like all badass. And he goes, Pam Bondi, F you, Pam Bondi. Yeah, I'm the one that was screaming out. You want me? Come and get me.
And she did.
She tweets out, okay. And now there's pictures of him in cuffs. It was awesome. It was pretty awesome, But
I want to see Adam Schiff, Eric Swalwell.
Right. And I watched Doug in Exile. I like his channel. You should check him out. And he did a thing today where he was pointing out that Bongino, Patel, and Bondi, that you really don't know the amount of work they have been doing. And Bongino just came out because he's back, and he's going to be on the air again. Well, he's doing his podcast again on February 2nd. He starts, but he was on Fox last night with Sean, and he was saying a lot of stuff. And he was saying, like, we worked very hard on a lot of things. He goes, the problem was, and think about this, Jade, they had half of the agents at the FBI were all corrupt. They were all corrupted by Biden, by Obama, by Comey, by Bob Mueller, by all of them. They were just corrupt as hell. And you're not going to walk up to them and they're going, yeah, I'm one of them. You got to weed them out. And
yeah,
so
why aren't they all fired?
Well, they are now, but it took a year to do that. And so while you're doing that, and that's what his job was. That's why Trump wanted him, because he was supposed to head that up, and he was supposed to close a couple other things, which he did. He did everything he was supposed to do. And he had said, I'm only going to be there for a year, right? He said it on the podcast anyway.
Hey,
so
it's starting again.
What is?
Look at your super chats.
Oh, wow. Check it out. Oh, Commander. What's up, brother? Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Thanks, brother. Appreciate it. Mucho. Mucho macho. Thanks, bro. Appreciate it. Let me see who else is here. Yeah, they live in a dream world. You're right, Charlie. What's up, Charlie? Good to see you. Mr. Commander, good to see you, brother. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Linda's here. Hey, girlfriend, what's up? What's going on? Anglo-Saxon. What's up, brother? Good to see you, man. Thanks for being here. I know we were here. I was like, there's only 8 people here. It's like 10 after. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. Yeah, how you doing? What's up, guys? Hey, Jimmy from Philly's in the house. So I got my brother and my sister here. That's cool. Family night. Yeah. All right. So anyway, so Dan talked about how it took a long time to get that going, and he was pissed about the whole Epstein thing and all that. That's hey, what's up, Jim? Good to see you, man. I put a link for the YouTube stuff. If you guys on Facebook want to come into YouTube, you get to see the whole chat because they see you, but I don't know. Do you guys see them? Let me go over there. Let me check it out. I don't know. Let me see. Yeah, I see all your stuff. Yeah, I see you guys there, but I don't see anybody else replying like the other people. Yeah, if you want to hit the comments, come on into the YouTube side because these guys are hilarious. Every week we have a great time. Yeah. So let me see. What's this? Yeah. So let's go down. Yeah, just in. Trump says Jack Smith committed perjury and should be prosecuted after a tense congressional testimony. He lied under oath when he was there. Here we go. Another one. The latest Democratic impeachment dream has to be heard to be believed. This is why I have him listed as a jackass above, because he's one of the biggest jackasses. Big mouth breather there. So Trump confirms he's got a massive armada heading for Iran. They're heading over there now. That's what I always say. The United States, they reach out and they go, you know what? We really don't like you doing that. And they wait a couple weeks, maybe a month. And next thing you know, you got a fleet off your coast. And you go, we tried to tell you, we really didn't like you doing that. Now you're going to pay. So here we go. Far left jury in Chicago finds Latin King's gang leader who ordered murder for hire plot of a border patrol leader, Bovina, not guilty. So it's jury nullification is what it is. And that's going on a lot. And you're going to see jury nullification. Just get ready for it. When we do have the Adam Schiffs, and the John Brennans, and we bring back James Comey and all that. When we do have them in court, you're going to have a lot of them where they're going to do jury nullification because they're leftists and because Trump's involved, which is why Trump's being smart. He's staying away from it. He's going to let the prosecutors do their job, and he's not going to really talk about it. If he's asked about it, he'll answer, but I don't think he's going to be a smart ass about it because he knows that the left thinks he's the devil, so that you're going to see a lot of them get away with it, and the judges are all going to be on their side and the whole thing. So here you go. Hell freezes over because the Squad, they joined the GOP to advance contempt resolutions against the Clintons in the Epstein probe. That's crazy.
That's interesting.
Jade, what do you think of that? That's like crazy town. Yeah, very crazy. That the Dems actually decided to go after the Clintons.
Interesting. It
Crazy
shows
town.
you that they're putting the old guard under the bus.
Yeah, that's what it is. I don't know who the new guard will be because they don't really have any new people that are intelligent. I mean,
AOC.
well, Mike, I said intelligent. Yeah,
AOC and Jasmine Crockett and
yeah.
who's our fine Speaker of the House, Jeffries.
There you go. It's for MAGA. The DHS website traffic surges 68% as thousands use Trump's self-deportation app for voluntary departure. Gotta love it. I think they give him $1,000, a hot dog and a Coke. I don't know what they take their Biden phone back. I don't know what they do, but 68% surge of these guys leaving. Because I got news for you guys. We're never, ever going to get them all out. It's impossible. Think about it. You have 10,000 of them running over each section of the border every single day for 4 years. 10,000 a day. You saw them all coming through all these different spots. So how are you going to get between 10 and 20 million out in 4 years, in 8 years, in 10 years? You're not. So I don't know how they're going to do it, but I think Trump's up to like 800. What is it? 800,000 now for the year.
Yeah. The way you do it is, I mean, you go after some and deport them, but you just take away the structure that makes them stay.
But this is another thing though. Because and a lot of people are going to get pissed at me, and I know that, but I'm going to say it anyway. You have a lot of people in the MAGA movement, or supposedly in the MAGA movement, who get pissed off when things don't happen, like fucking Epstein, and it's like, guys, how about all the good shit that's going on? Because when the left or people on the fence see MAGA people bitching about Trump, right? What kind of message is that sending? Well, if they don't like him, why should I? Fuck you, it's bullshit. No, it's not. Stop. Just have a little faith, for Christ's sake. Shit happens, right? But look what's going on. Look what's going on. Inflation's coming down. The price at the pump is coming down, at least in my state. Not in Cali, but all that shit's coming down.
No, but Trump has done what I started to say is you need to take away the structure that keeps them here. Make sure that they're not on Medicaid. Make sure they don't
get them off all that shit.
Make sure they don't get all of these. They can't get welfare. And that's what's going to cause people to leave, because that's what's.
Oh yeah.
And I can't wait. For the birthright citizenship.
Yeah, well, we're gonna read that tonight. What's up, Louie? What's up, Ludwig? Good to see you guys. Thanks for being here. Yeah. I
don't know where that's gonna go. I hope they.
I don't either, but I don't know if they're poised to do the right thing or if they're worried about the politics of it. I'm surprised the left didn't start like chanting and screaming and lighting fires outside the SCOTUS's houses. I'm surprised they didn't.
Oh, so they will when it gets close to a.
All right.
Thanks, Anglo.
Ice. What's up? Oh, dude, Anglo, man, you the man again. Thank you, brother. Thank you very much. That deserves another. Thank you, brother. I really appreciate that, man. I love you guys. I really do. and I love everybody. If you don't, that's fine. You don't have to. I just love the fact that you're here. There you go. Yeah. What's up, everybody? Good. People are coming in. Nice. All right, then. So the last one is on the Maine is ICE launches a new operation in Maine amid Trump's broader illegal immigrant crackdown around the U.S. Then we have the fire hose of news at the top. It's just a boatload of stuff. And I have a long lost clip of the week. It's going to be of Robin, Courage is the Cure, I got her link and I got 42's link in the description down below. If you have, I know most of you guys already know who they both are, but if you're new here, you put another one in. Holy man, look at this, dude. Thank you. He's gonna you're gonna match it. Thank you, brother. We got like a war here, a bidding war.
I was going to say, we got an auction going on.
We got to step our game up now. We're getting paid.
Yeah.
This is the major historical day for silver stackers, silver spot. Oh, cool. Nice, man. Thank you, Commander. Appreciate it, brother. Yeah. What the hell was I saying? I forget what I was saying. The plethora of news. Oh, yeah. It's going to be a clip from Robin from Courage is the Cure. Guys that don't know her, she's from Australia. Very heavy into the privacy issues that they're experiencing down there. The digital ID stuff that's going on, all the crazy shit, taking away your privacy, taking away freedom of speech, like it's just all that. And I found a clip today. I was going through some of her stuff and I found one. It was from December, and where she goes off on people not speaking up, and she's right. I just want to play that later on when we get a little more people in. So, all right, let's start off. What should we go first? Let's do Trump owned. He just owned it. From American Greatness. Let's see. We're here. Okay. Trump owned Davos. Right. Let's bring it up so my old eyes can read it. European leaders worked themselves up into a full-blown hysteria because President Trump spoke to the WEF this week with wild claims that Trump planned a U.S. invasion of Greenland that would destroy the NATO alliance and the rules-based international order. Now, it's not going to destroy NATO, but it will destroy the rules-based. When you hear rules-based, think of British government running the globalist shit and trying to destroy America's economy, because that's what it was. That's what rules-based was. It was the globalist shit, right? Not you guys from the UK. We love you guys to death, but your government sucked as bad as our last government, right? Yeah, and so that he is getting rid of rules-based. And they're admitting it. They're coming out. A lot of leaders out there are saying, yeah, it's over. Globalism failed, so it's over. So a couple of dozen European troops were hurriedly sent to Greenland. Yeah, what are they going to do? French President Macron, the guy married to a guy, called for an emergency G7 summit. European leaders also discussed implementing a bazooka trade retaliation against the United States. Well, guess what? Trump got the deal done anyway. But when Trump spoke at the Davos summit on Wednesday, these hair-on-fire claims melted away in the face of his masterful speech, which it was. If you guys didn't watch it, go watch it. I had people tell me, "Why he's babbling?" No, I don't think so. Which laid out in depth his successful record of promoting global security and ending wars. All he talked about was what he did, and I got to tell you something. He had Macron in the room. He was in the freaking room, and he's busting his balls. No, Donald, I will not do it. Now he's, yeah, you're going to do it. You know, no, you're going to do it. You're going to increase prices on your prescriptions because you're screwing us. No. And he goes, I think he's in the room. Oh, yeah, there he is. I mean, imagine that. President of France is in the freaking room and he's busting his balls and the entire audience is laughing. Oh, man. The only other goober that was there that was worse was Gavin Newsom. We shouldn't have even been there, but we'll get into him too. The president also turned the tables on European leaders by challenging them over policies that have endangered their security and the welfare of their citizens. I'm going to tell you something, guys. Trump knows that all you guys over in the UK and all of Europe, they know that you guys, the forgotten men and women, all right? He knows that you're the good ones. He gets it. Trust me. And when he says stuff like that, he means it, right? Trump is an old school guy in that, like, he's very new school and modern when it comes to busting people's balls and using memes and stuff like that. He's just awesome, and he's got a really great sense of humor. But he's old school when it comes to loyalty to friends, right? And he expects loyalty back. You know, if you're going to be loyal to him, he will be loyal to you. And so if you watch Promethean, I can't remember the rest of her name, but I'll put a link down to their channel in the description after this. But it's two women that, man, they're firehouses. They firecrackers. They do videos on everything that Trump is doing to dismantle the problems with the British government right now and what they're doing and trying to fight back against Trump as he's trying to say, look, we are America first, right? England should be England first. Ireland should be Ireland first, right? Italy should be Italy first. It should be that way, right? You shouldn't be worrying about, bringing in shitloads of refugees. Oh, and guys, if you don't have, oh wow, holy mackerel, Commander, dude, thank you, sir. Is Anglo again? Wow, dude. Holy dude, the two of you guys, I don't even know what to say, man. That's so cool. Thank you, guys. You guys are the best. You see, we can join the Board of Peace. Yeah. They're blameless or quiet when it snows. Yeah. But yeah, what Trump's doing. Let's see. How are you? Hey, what's up, Hoax? Good to see you. How you doing? But I don't remember Hoax. But good to see you. Welcome. You probably were in. I just don't remember. I apologize. And France should be 13th to 26th. Yeah. Well, Well, Trump, what he wants is he was just like our Ronald Reagan. Okay, he was a right wing. No, he. I don't even think he was really conservative. I think he was a populist nationalist. I do, because all he wanted to do was help people that got fucked by their own government, making deals, left out in the cold, right? Ship all your shit overseas. But anyway, I was talking about Tucker a minute ago, and Tucker put out a new, I think it was Tommy Robinson had a little clip that he put out saying, who the fuck are you, Tucker? You don't know what it's like to be here or not. So I think that got, and he was right. Don't get me wrong. I think he was right to do it, because Tucker said something like, I have more in common with a Muslim or something like that over in England than I do with these guys. And he was like, really? Are your daughters getting raped by them? So it was pretty good. But I think that's what got Tucker to do this documentary. And it's it's from beginning to end, how they're coming into Europe. And whoa, I was like, I watched the whole thing and I was like, God damn, it's so much worse than what I thought it was. I mean, holy mackerel. And guys, it's all for money, all for money. Your leaders all throughout that are accepting these people, they're getting money for it from NGOs, a lot of them that USAID paid. Yeah. Right. And from the Soroses and all the others for whatever reason. And they're bringing them in, and they showed how they all get into Spain, and how the guy that was doing the interviews and whatnot got his ass beat at one point, had blood coming out of his head and all. He was sitting there all bloodied up because they don't want you filming them, So it's all on the up and up, right? Yeah, chaos by design. You're right, Ludwig. Absolutely right, man. And this thing, if you can get a chance to watch it or get bits and pieces of it, do it. I suggest you do, because I'll bet there's even stuff you guys don't know that's in there, because the guy covered like a lot of shit. And he had one guy who said, yeah, I'll talk to you. And he told him, and the guy was laughing. He goes, it's a game. The guy, I forget, either Canary Island, wherever. And he goes, yeah, it's a game. He goes, what do you mean by that? And he goes, well, for every so many people that come in, Spain gets, I think it was like $200,000 or something like that. He goes, so they're going to bring in as many as they can because they're getting money for it. He goes, where's the money going? The guy's like, where do you think? So all this shit, and no one wants to say a word. They had outside of one of the places where they come in. Okay, this guy, an artist, he goes and he paints these green footsteps that take you from that station where you come off the boat and you get in and you come into Spain to some other building where you can get housing and whatnot in there. Like literally, and it's written, like there's a sign that's written, like professional looking sign. It's written in all the different languages of the Africans that are coming in. And they're like, Bobby, dude, where you been, man? We've missed you terribly. I hope you're all right, man. Good to see you. Yeah, exactly, man. Isn't European and leader mutually exclusive? Yeah, they are. But but dude, it was a mess of stuff that I saw in that documentary. I was like, man, it is far worse than I even thought. I mean, I was like, last week I was like, yeah, Giorgia Meloni in Italy. Yeah, she told me they can't wear the burqa. Now I'm like, what the fuck is that going to do to save her people? There's, and you know what? And Trump was right when Trump said, you guys can still turn it around, but the window's closing. You got to do something. And so I think he was trying to expose it so that the leaders will just say, we made enough. Let's stop. We made enough money before we get our ass in trouble. Yeah, I know, man. That's what I'm hearing. It's like they're getting money, and everybody involved is getting money. Like people that are sending them to and fro, that are taking them to other countries. They're all getting paid, and it's big money. And you got to wonder, like, why? Like, what? Who is the top person behind this? Saying, "Yeah, here's my goal. I want to destroy Europe." That's what I think. That's what it is. They want to destroy Europe. And see, the thing is, the thing that we Yanks are worried about over here, and I'm being serious. Some of y'all got the bomb. So when the Muslims take over your countries because your own leaders are not doing anything to stop that from happening, but when they do, what's going to happen to the world?
Yeah, guess what they inherit?
Yeah, what's going to happen to the world when that happens, right? And I mean, they showed these people like they didn't want anybody taking their picture or filming them. They're like, get out now, or we're going to beat your ass. And dude didn't get out, and they beat his ass. But I digress. So let's get back on this. So blah blah blah. Where am I? Yeah, Trump mocked Europe's reliance on windmills and green energy, and he's not talking about you guys. He loves you guys, believe me, just like we do. Right? He's talking about the people that run things. So Trump mocked Europe's reliance on windmills and green energy, noting that electricity prices have soared by 139% in some European countries. He criticized the UK for energy policies that make it impossible to drill for oil in the North Sea. Trump also, it's very simple too. Trump, because he's a businessman, he comes out and says, like, your energy policy is the life's blood of your society, right? Your economy, your energy. That's it, right? And I think the lefties, the globalists know this, but they don't give a shit. I think they're in the mode of, well, you know what? Now we're destroying it, so we're just in a managed decline type of situation, and we're just going to get rich off of it. Fuck it. I mean, holy shit. What do you do? Like, how do you guys fix that? Because they're locking your asses up just for tweeting things that offend people. So how are you, seriously? I mean, I'm not one for war, but I mean, if it takes the U.S. to help you guys out, but how will that work? I don't know, because your own government is really sticking it up your ass. I mean, they are, and I don't like to see that. So, yeah, this is upsetting. So Trump also contrasted Europe's poor economic performance with the U.S.'s economic miracle and said European leaders should end radical policies. That's what it's all about. It's just policies that are bad. They should end radical policies that are dragging down their economies and emulate American policies in your own fashion. I guarantee if your leaders would just do that, you guys would be right back, right? You would be right back. But what they're doing, think about what they're doing. Like they did here for a while. We just have too many diverse people. So they'll never get away with it long term here. But because look, we went through 4 years of Biden, his communism. And, at one point I was like, holy shit, do we ever get out of this? But, our founders were pretty smart. The remedy was just a new election, and we wouldn't stop it. So, and there were too many people, and we own the guns. There's like 380 million guns in America. So there's no way that they would do that to us like long term. But we put up with a lot of shit too. So we know, well, we don't know half of what you guys go through, but we know what it's like, to be censored and to be arrested for dumb shit, things that you shouldn't be arrested for, and lawfare and all that crap. But I mean, if you guys, I think, because you guys are the ones that, your working class people are the ones that actually make things work. Just like every other society, you guys are the fucking society, and they're shitting on you, and they're doing it by making money, by bringing people in that don't want to assimilate, right? They don't want to become British. They don't want to become Irish. They don't want to become anything that's over there. They want to balkanize everything, if you will. And they're getting away with it because your leaders are letting them get away with it. And I think, yeah, really, never give up your guns. I think that what's going to happen. Is this Anglo again? Wow, dude, thank you so much. Yeah, non-governmental organizations, Rich, helping and encouraging the lead. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, those NGOs, man. And I would like to see I would like to see the Trump. I think that's one of the reasons why he's bringing Elon back too. He wants to get his little nerds. He wants to get them back into the databases, and he wants to see if he can find out which NGOs that are funding your problem came from USAID and where the rest of them came from, if they can. That's what I think he wants to. Yeah, Second Amendment. Damn. Yeah, but just wow, man. It really bothers me when I see what's going on over there. And you know what's funny is, you know, that all the people that are not allowed to talk up, that they're all sitting there going, I mean, I know you guys don't sleep at night. You're like, what the fuck, man? We're not going to be British anymore. You know, it's like, you know, they're going to take over. And I mean, think about it. You guys got to move further out. But you know, I mean, holy crap. I don't know what you guys are going to do, man, but Godspeed. Trump was referring to recent figures showing significantly stronger U.S. economic growth. Real GDP in the third quarter was 4.4 compared to the paltry 0.4. You know, and Trump has said, I am willing to work with anyone. You know, we'll work with you. He says every time, he says, I want a strong Europe. You know, because a strong Europe means a stronger USA, right? Back and forth. And plus, all those leaders, they hate his guts. You know, pretty much most of the rhinos in America hate his guts too, because he doesn't play that fucking game. He doesn't play the globalist game, and they just can't stand him for it because they're not making money. They want money and power. They want to be able to feel like they can control people. You know, some sickness is inside them makes them behave this way, but now they're fucking selling you out. I got to get off this article because I'm going way over. Yeah, it just drives me nuts when I see that kind of stuff, man. All right, next one. You got anything to add to that, Jay?
I was just taking it all in. That was a great
little rant there. I'm sorry. I apologize, guys. It bothers the hell out of me. It really does. I have family over there too, and they're like, yeah, you wouldn't believe it. So Don Lemon's position is so stupid. How stupid is it? He better lawyer up. Let's go. I'm going to bring it in. Don Lemon. So there we go. Let me close this. What is this? Life is that? Yeah. Republican strategist Mark Lauder and civil rights attorney Harmeet Dillon. Right. Harmeet Dillon is like the hardest working person in the DOJ. Is she not? She's charging shit tons of people with crimes. That's awesome. You know, anyway, Harmeet Dillon raised questions about Don Lemon's role during a protest at a church, arguing that his own words suggest participation. That's what my video said, rather than detached reporting. And that the First Amendment does not protect involvement in criminal activity. Exactly. So what she's saying is, for those that weren't here, I said it earlier, in the United States, a church, you're allowed to have free speech, and well, you're allowed to have free speech anywhere, but you're allowed to protest in a public space, like a sidewalk. Okay. You're not allowed to go in and interact with the people. You're not allowed to touch them. You're not allowed to harm them. You're not allowed to go into private property. In America, churches are considered private property. I'm sure it is over there too. I don't know. But in the United States, it's private property, and that's called trespassing. And in Don Lemon's own video, it shows the pastor saying, we've asked them to get out, and obviously you see they're not out. That's a legal thing right there. We asked them to get out, right? And then he said to him, I'd like for you to leave too. He goes, what, you don't want me to chronicle this? And he's like, I got to get back to my flock, you know? And Don Lemon continued to film inside the church. So he broke the law. Now, yeah, it's trespassing, you know, probably not even a misdemeanor, but he broke the law. All right. And so you can't. And then from the very beginning, he was saying, well, I know the people, I met with some people over there, they're resistant. He said, I was pleasantly surprised that the community got together for this. Oh, really, Don? So you're straight down the middle. You're just reporting it, because he said that several times. Oh, we're not involved. We're just reporting. Well, then why did you literally argue with a pastor and with an elder of the church? He's arguing, trying to convince him, you know, like he was trying to convince him. Like, one of the things he said was, well, we have ICE here, and they have U.S. citizens are saying they're getting their doors battered down. He goes, that ain't right. And I'm sitting there going, well, asshole, if you're a U.S. citizen and you're harboring a violent criminal, illegal alien, they have the right to batter your door down, right? They have that right, because it's a felony to harbor an illegal. It's a felony to harbor a criminal, right? And so you have that right. So Don Lemon doesn't know his ass from a hole in the ground. And I remember Harmeet Dillon put something out warning him, and he on Twitter, and he wrote back laughing at her. He literally thinks the First Amendment, because he said inside the church while these people are screaming at people, all right, like what kind of fucking Christian are you? Who the hell do you think you are? Why aren't you over helping these Somali people? It was crazy what they were screaming. These people are like, I just wanted to come to church, you know. It's like, and they're getting screamed at by these radical lunatics, right? So he's standing there filming this and saying, well, you know, this is what the First Amendment's all about. You know, it might not be pretty, they may not like it, but you know what? And then he starts saying things like, you know what, well, when you have ICE, and I'm sitting there going, okay, so you're bitching about ICE. Why are you in a church blaming the church people? And like everybody got it wrong. They said, well, an ICE agent attends the church. No, the actual pastor works at the local. See, in America, you could be a pastor and you could have a real job. I don't know what you guys have over there, but a lot of the pastors here, they have regular jobs during the week. Right. And so this pastor works at an ICE department in Minneapolis. He's like administration or something. Right. So they got it mixed up. Right. And they said, oh, it's an ICE agent who goes there. So we're going to go into this church. And it's like, what kind of sense does that make? You know, oh, an ICE guy, you know, he probably attends this church. So we're going to go in and fuck with this church. Well, guess what? You're going to be charged with a crime. So the discussion centered on comments Lemon made during coverage of the incident, particularly his use of inclusive language that appeared to place himself among the protesters. He cut a piece out, but I have it. He kissed the girl on the cheek who was the first one arrested. She's Black Lives Matter. And he kissed her on the cheek. Hi, how you doing? Good. And then you see that they bleeped it out, right? And it's like, oh, dude, like he's friends with the people that are going in there, and he's saying, I'm just recording it. I'm just doing, journalism. And the elder literally said, well, you know what? I'm not going to get into the weeds with you. And he goes, what do you mean? Don't you think? And he goes, look, you're not a journalist. And he goes, oh, yes, I am. And I laughed my ass. I'm like, Don Lemon has to say, yes, I am. He has to defend that he's a journalist. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And he said, sell your, do you have a sword? If you don't, sell your loincloth to get one. Yeah. Said they all said, oh, he said turn the other cheek. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. Not all the time he didn't. Right. So Lauder said Lemon's phrasing raised legal and ethical concerns about whether he crossed the line from observer to participant. Right. And I'm just telling you, when he was asked to leave private property and he didn't, he broke the law. Quote, Don Lemon used the word we, not protesters, not they, not them. See, you would think Don, being a lib nut, would know his pronouns, right? Not them or their preferred pronouns. That's funny. He said, we, does that put him on the line as a protester and lose his First Amendment media coverage? I don't think he had First Amendment. The First Amendment doesn't say, well, if you're a guy from the press, you can do whatever you want. You can go into private property and start reporting. It doesn't do that. It just says the government's not going to arrest you for what you say, what you report. That's all it means. All right. But it doesn't mean that because of that you can walk into private property. They can't. And that's why he's in trouble. Dillon expanded on that point by explaining that the First Amendment does not provide blanket protection when a person actively takes part in unlawful conduct, even if that conduct is live streamed or framed as journalism. She compared Lemon's actions to a hypothetical criminal scenario to illustrate the distinction. She said the position of his is so stupid that I was trying to figure out how to put it in layman's terms. So here we go. She says, imagine if you have a bank robbery that's being planned by a number of criminals. They're crossing state lines, are using the wires, and then a podcaster says, well, let me embed myself in here and come along for the ride and live stream the crime that would not be protected by the First Amendment. Now, it's a shame that Harmeet had to literally go down to that level of stupidity to explain so that the people that are supporting Don Lemon would get it. They probably still don't get it. So she says, and so it is a crime to disrupt and harass and make people in a church or any house of worship feel unsafe. Excuse me. We have a thing called the FACE Act. And in the FACE Act, The lib nuts will say, that's for abortion clinics. Yeah, but it literally says in there that you can't go into a church either.
You know what's funny?
A house of worship. What's that?
You know what's funny?
What's that?
Is it was the leftists that wanted the FACE Act so they could arrest people trying to counsel women outside of abortion centers.
Right. And they did under Biden. Like, think about it. You had guys like the one guy I voted for him. He was trying to take over from my utterly worthless Congressman, Brian Fitzpatrick. Worthless Republican rhino. Worthless. Did I say worthless? Right. Well, he ran against him, and the guy, Fitzpatrick, made him look like a nut. But the guy would do prayer vigils, and they would sing the 500 feet away from the clinic. But Biden would have them arrested anyway. They would be like, wait a minute, we were following the FACE Act. No, you weren't. Well, yeah, we were. We have video of us doing it. Well, we'll take that video. You know, that's what happens when you have commies. Hey, what's up, Chris? Good to see you, man. Thanks for being here. Donnie Stinkfingers said people should be made to feel uncomfortable. Yeah, he did. He actually said that. They should be made to feel uncomfortable. Oh, really? They should? Well, how uncomfortable would it be when you're in court trying to fight off these charges, right? She added that participation.
You were. I think you're right. Their goal is to find the jury that's going to do jury nullification or come up with some, or a judge that's going to give jury instructions that really tie their hands. But the point there would be, let's go ahead and put him through the system and make the prosecution the punishment, just like they
have to
Trump.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you,
Commander. God bless, brother. Thank you again, man. He said we really need to take the warning labels off of everything, and just let stupid work its way out of our gene pool. That's exactly right. That's exactly right, man. Yeah, there's these people. I mean, think about it. I think we're in a civil war. In fact, I got two songs, guys. I want to do. I got two songs I created that I do believe we're in the beginning of a civil war, and as Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders had said like 2 weeks ago, that the country is divided between normal and crazy. That's it. It's not black and white. It's not men and women. It's not rich, poor. It's normal and crazy motherfuckers, right? And so I'm going to do another intro video, but I have two songs, and I'm going to play them for you in a little bit. They're hard rock, and they're in the vein of something like Rage Against the Machine, right? But it's good. The one is called Normal versus Crazy, and the other one, I can't remember, Split Screen USA. Yeah. Called Split Screen USA. I'll play them in a little bit, and I'll get your feedback to see which one I should use, because the video is going to be about how in the United States we believe we're entering a civil war. And do you really, Lou? Yeah, we're entering a civil war because these people, like, think about it. They shot Charlie Kirk. How many other people have they killed, right? They allowed criminal, illegal aliens into our country, knowing they were criminals. They did not vet them, and enough of them that we're not going to ever get them all out, right? So we're hoping they take the money and self-deport. I think it's like $1,000, right?
Like I said, just control the access to social systems so they can't.
You're exactly right. But you know what happens? This is what happens, and this is how they planned it out, guys. Over here, anyway. What I had gone over this before, but I'll just go lightly into it so I won't bore you to death. Too late, right? In the States, what happened was in the last census in 2020, the blue states lost a lot of people because they were like, screw that. They escaped and they went to the freedom of red states. That's what you can do here, right? Vote with your feet. And so what happened was, those blue states lost so many people. You have to have, like, I think now it's up to 750,000 people for a district to get a congressman. So they lost that many people, and so they lost a congressman. And when you lose a congressman, you also lose an elector. And the electors, they help you elect a president, right? So it's It's at the top of the ticket, and it's also your congressman. So what they decided was, we're just going to flood a shit ton of illegals in here and not to vote. Although we do know that there's thousands of illegals that are voting, right? Because the Dems let them with the motor voter law and all that. They let them register. But here's the thing. I always say that worthless Chief Justice John Roberts had decided years ago that the Democrats can count illegal aliens in the census. And they said, because the Democrats argued, and he was dumb enough to fall for it, they argued, well, it doesn't say citizens. It says people. Now, who in their right mind thinks that the founding fathers, who just created rules, who just gave power to the Congress to create an immigration law, right? It says, and uniform rule of naturalization, which means immigration, right? That's part of the 18 enumerated powers in Article 1, Section 8 of our Constitution. You can look it up. And so who in their right mind would think, well, they meant everybody, right? So Roberts said, yeah, you can do that. All right. Yeah, motorboating law. So with that, they thought, okay, we're going to bring in a shit ton of them, spread them all over the country. And when the census comes, like a year before the census, blue states will start giving out free health care to them and free food and free everything on your dime. Because what happens? The little cockroaches leave the red states and start going to the blue states. The blue states start building their population up for the census. They get their power back. They get their congressman and their elector back. That's what their plan was. That's why they were doing it. Plus, state and federal in America, a state will get federal grants handed to them, and it's based on population. So certain cities, like right now, LA, Los Angeles is a city, but it's also a county. It's like Philadelphia, where I'm from, right? It's a city and it's a county. All right. But LA has more people in it than 23 other states combined. I can't name them because I don't have it in front, but there's 23 other states that the county of LA alone has more than them.
Yeah, not combined, not 23 states combined.
No,
but
no,
the surrounding 6 states combined, LA County has.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, 6 states, but there's 23 states that one county inside one of the biggest states we have has more people. And so what they want to get rid of the Electoral College because they want then just California, Illinois, and New York deciding who's president. Because why would any president go to and visit any other state and care about any of the smaller states? That's what our Electoral College is for. It's so that the little guys, the Rhode Islands, right? The Maines, they have a say because the Electoral College says they have a say, right? It was brilliant what they did, but these assholes don't like it. They want democracy where mob rules. They don't want, they don't want fairness. They want rigged elections. So that's where we're at with them. But I've said enough on that too. I'm getting all ideological tonight. Sorry, guys. But if you like it, I'll continue. World Economic Forum. No, we're not going to do that one. Oh, let's do this one. Let me see. Let's go. Okay, so here we go. This one, this guy's got balls, right? It's not the Bee. All right, same guys as the Babylon Bee, but they do real stories. It's the same guys, though. Report parents who raised $170,000 by claiming ICE gassed their kids on the way home from a basketball game lied about the whole damn thing, right? So it tear-gassed children, right? So it turns out it's really easy to make money in America by lying. Destiny and Sean Jackson, guilty, and our Minneapolis parents who claimed their truck was lifted off the ground by a tear gas canister as they were peacefully driving home with 6 kids from a basketball game at Anderson Middle School.
How can that happen? How could a tear gas canister lift your car?
Shut up, bigot. That's how it happened. That's how
we was trapped. Anyway, I couldn't go forward, pulling off, couldn't go backwards. Like, it was nothing I could have did to get out that situation at the time.
There's nothing I could have did. That should have been a clue.
A family was caught in the crossfire between ICE agents and protesters in North Minneapolis. Reg Chapman sat down with a couple and their 6 children who were trapped inside their vehicle when tear gas exploded underneath.
Can you imagine?
Sean and Destiny Jackson, their 11 and 7-year-olds, 4-year-old twins, and 6-month-old baby boy were on their way home from basketball practice when they were caught between protesters and ICE agents.
They stopped at my car and they proceeded to yell in it and said, "Get out of here!" Well, they used profanity, my husband.
And you've never heard profanity in your life, right, sister?
Screamed and said, "We're trying."
The couple stayed calm. They say ICE agents ramped up their demands.
They said it again, and we said, "We're trying. If you guys will move." And of course, like everybody's seeing what happened with Renee. You know what I'm saying?
We don't need to hear anymore. Let's find out what happens to him. On a GoFundMe page, Destiny says the tear gas flooded the cabin of their truck and her infant stopped breathing. Hello, my name is Destiny. Myself, my husband, Sean. I won't do it that way. Hello, my name is Destiny, she wrote. Myself, my husband, Sean, and their 6 kids were the latest ICE victims. Ha! They're ICE victims, right? They were innocent bystanders driving through what should have been a peaceful protest. When things took a turn, ICE began to start throwing tear gas bombs everywhere. We were trying so hard to get out of the way, but didn't want to harm anybody with our car in the process. I'd like to see if they have hospital receipts. Did they go to the hospital? Well, no. Well, why not? You just said your child stopped breathing, right? We don't even need it. As of Wednesday, the fundraiser had reached $170,000. Okay, so one teensy tiny problem. Destiny and Sean Jackson were filmed participating in the mob that was harassing the federal officers. Here they go. There we go. Where are they? Oh, where are they? I think that's her. I think that's her right there. Yeah, that's her. Where's the guy, though? Is that him? Yeah, hold on. To the right. Come on, come back. Now to the left. Well, he was in there. Okay, so the two apparently, there he is. The two apparently left their kids in the car while they got mostly peaceful. If the children were exposed to tear gas, it's because their parents endangered them by leaving them in a vehicle, harassing federal officers, then trying to flee the scene of a crime. Holy shit. Sean specifically told local news that he was not participating in the protest, despite being filmed in the protest. Notice how easy it is for so many people to lie. There you go. Were you participating? I wasn't at all. Again, CBS, ABC, and others reported on the story. CBS paid a crew to film Sean and Destiny in their home. How much did it cost to pay for a 2.5-minute segment on national TV, including transportation, equipment, and staffing? But they couldn't pay one person out of a gazillion-dollar budget to fact-check Sean and Destiny's claim. Some random guy on social media did their job for them. Well, that's what's happening, right? Let's see. What else happened? He says, here you go. Free the world. Report their fundraiser for fraud. Yeah, it's fraud. Report fundraiser. I love it how on X they're doing that now. Like they have the community notes which is why all the left-wing journalists, for lack of a better word, took off, went over to Blue Sky, because they kept getting community noted, if you will. And now we have people that are saying, yeah, go to the GoFundMe, click report fundraiser. I love it, man. Now, who's this? Don Lemon goes to church. That would probably be funny, but we got to move on. Sorry, guys. So people actually scammed in Minneapolis and in Minnesota. Say it ain't so, Dr. J. People actually committed fraud there with a GoFundMe.
Not the first one.
There's no fraud in Minneapolis. Hey, what's up, Leanne? How you doing?
Hey, Rich. All
right.
I'll be right back.
Okay. Let me see. What is it? Is it them again? It's always boo boo. That's pretty fun. All right, let's take this moment. I'm going to put the songs up. Do you guys want to hear these songs? They're 3 minutes each. I'll put them up. Hang on. I'm going to go away while I do it. The first one's called Split Screen. Remember, I want to use one of these 2 songs, and if nobody likes either one, I'll make another one. But I made these 2 songs, and they're hard rock, kind of like Rage Against the Machine, and it's about how we're entering a civil war right now, and because between the two, we're divided between normal people and crazy people. So let's give it a listen.
Blue line. Same day, new sign. Got a flag in the yard, but the house feels haunted. Every channel on the screen pushing rage, they flaunt it. Uncle screaming in the meme like it's holy law. Cousin sharing every lie that he ever saw. Scroll down, it's a fight in the comic cage. Keep a fist, middle age, middle page rage. You at work, 2 checks, still broke, still text. Stay at home on the phone, planning abstract acts. Normal people, crazy people, same church, different steeple, same streets, twisted sequel. Let's screen USA. Normal people, crazy people, 1 wound, 2 needles, same flag, 2 prequels. Let's screen USA. Split screen USA. Got a mask, got a gun, got a scripture quote, got a podcast, profit selling fear by the boatload. One side shouting we're under attack, other side whisper, man, it's never been like that. I see moms in the store just counting change, kids in the back wanna leave this place, but the loudest in the room got the broken brakes. Hit send till the whole thing shakes. Normal people, crazy people, same church, different steeple, same streets, twisted sequel. Split screen USA. Normal people, crazy people, 1 wound, 2 needles, same flag, 2 prequels. Split screen USA.
And that's pretty much how it goes. We got the other one here. I'll put that up. I just want to get this out of the way. I'll play the other one. This one's called Normal versus Crazy. All right. I'll play like half of it. I won't play the whole thing, but tell me what you think.
Talk shows, trash fire every night. They sell fear like a cup price high. Scroll war, blame storm, pick a side, pick a label, pick a tribe, pick a lie. Us versus them, that's the script they wrote. Turn your neighbor to a scapegoat. Quiet folks just trying to stay afloat, drowned out by the loudest quote. Normal versus crazy, that's the game they play. Cut the map in half, then they walk away. We're all stuck living in the mess they made while they cashing on the hate parade. Normal versus crazy, that's the name they spray on every mind they break, every rule they bend, till there's nothing left to save in the end. Yeah. Hey. Flag wave, rage post, sound the alarm. Every convoy's tagged as harm. Hey. Facts been true, spin on demand. Clickbait crown in a hollow land. You want schools, roads, something real. They want culture war, highlight reels. You say, hey, can we just heal? They scream bow down or you're not real. Normal versus crazy, that's the game they play. Cut the map in half and they walk away. We're all stuck living in the mess they made while they cashing on the hate parade. Normal versus crazy, that's the name they spray on every mind they break, every rule they bend, till there's nothing left to save in the end. Left, right, black, white, they profit when we never unite. Turn town halls into bar fights, sell your fear back every night. I'm done picking teams on a TV screen. I want clean water, a halfway decent dream. You call that weak, I call that sane. I won't bleed for your ratings game, hey!
All right. That's enough right there. Let me see. Pillar. Oh, cool. Cool. Hey, thanks to the end. Let me see. Oh, there you go. Courage is the cure. What's up, Robin? Robin, I got a clip of yours that I'm playing tonight. It's short, but I saw it today and I thought, man, I got to play this because it's, in fact, I'll do it right now. Hang on. We're going to do, we call it the long lost clip of the week. And it's not an old clip, but it's a clip that I think everybody should hear it. So let me put this thing up, get it ready. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? I don't even have the video. I'll just go up to the video itself then. Let me bring it up. Yeah, because I thought this was really good and something that we all need to take to heart. Here it is. Let me start it over in the beginning again. Here we go. I'm gonna let's see. I'm gonna bring it in here. Share this instead. Here we go, guys.
Every podcaster in every other nation that dares talk to everybody else about digital ID, they're having rallies. They're standing up against it. They're making their voices heard. Well, you need to talk to the Australians. You need to talk to us now because it's happening to us. Shame on all of you for not reaching out and speaking to the Australians who are independent content creators, podcasts, journalists, researchers. None of you have reached out to any of us to talk to you about this. And we are the first, as I predicted months ago. Australia is first to go. Shame on all of the Australian activists, the Australian podcasters, the Australian content creators that have a platform that are saying, what an embarrassment. It hasn't worked. The teenagers have got through. Shame on all of you. Australia has always been the petri dish. We are the petri dish, and we can see what is happening right in front of our eyes. And shame on all of you for saying that it hasn't worked. The teenagers are still watching. They're all still online. The avenues for communicating truth are being shut down.
There you go. Yeah, I believe that's absolutely the right attitude. I think that's the way how everyone should think about it. Yeah, because I mean, privacy issues, digital ID, censorship, they're all things for them to keep power against the forgotten men and women in every damn country that we love. Think about it. And you're right, Robin. You're right. You're absolutely right that there aren't enough people complaining about it. And the reason why I think is because they think to themselves, well, it hasn't hit me yet. Yeah, I got to put up with a couple of things. I can't say certain things, but you know what? I'm still going to earn some money. And so, you know what? Until it hits me, it's like that old, first they came for him, and then there was no one left. That's some true shit. And I think more of us should be talking about that stuff. That's why I want us, the three, you, me, and 40, to get together someday soon and start talking about privacy issues in our countries and what's going on. Because I think a lot more people, you guys know what it is, right? A lot more people to get involved than even exponentially more people getting involved. And when you have a society that is based now on the same thought wave of, you know what, fuck your censorship. We're tired of it. We have a right to speak. And censorship also, I mean, we all know it. Censorship also destroys learning. Think about it. When they did the censorship on my government forced all of our social media companies to do censorship during COVID, how many people could have died because they didn't have doctors that were able to post and say, look, I have these patients here. I'm using ivermectin. All right. And it seems to work for them. I know Australia, as a matter of fact, I read it. That's how I learned about ivermectin. I didn't hear about it before, but I read an article during COVID that in Australia, doctors were using ivermectin. And I remember reading it said that after the second dose, everybody's symptoms go away. And it was crazy. And guess what? I caught the Delta version, right? Which I thought was the worst one of all. I thought I was going to die. And I had ivermectin, right? And so I took it. And after the second dose, and everybody, people that didn't have to take it, you don't know, you take one dose, 1 day, right? And it's based on your weight and all that. But after the second dose, like 6 hours after the second dose, I was like, oh my God, all the symptoms were gone. I could not believe it. All right. Now, how many people died because all that inflammation didn't get taken away that COVID caused them, and they either suffocated or they died, couldn't handle it, right? All because the government told people they can't talk about it. We don't want them talking about it, or hydroxychloroquine, or any one of the others.
Right? Hey, Rich, pop quiz.
Sure.
Name all of the regimes in history who have been pro-censorship that have been good guys.
Yeah, I know.
I'll wait.
None. Yeah, you'll be waiting a long time. Yeah, let's see. The government just passed laws a matter of days ago. Jail time if someone is upset or fearful of your thoughts. The thought police now. Yeah, we got the freaking thought police coming out. Unreal, man. Let's see. Yep. You told me. Yeah. I remember I told you about it. Took ivermectin, 2 doses. Yeah. I'll tell you what. Yeah, I remember you got a bunch of it too, Leanne. You grabbed up a bunch of it. See, I had to go to India. I had to reach out to India for it because they shut it down here. You had pharmacists who were saying, "I'm not going to fill this prescription." I heard a guy. He goes, "It's from a registered doctor. It's a licensed doctor. You have to fill it." No, I don't. Because
actually, that's true. That's true. They do not have to fill a prescription.
But the fact of the matter was, it was a legitimate script. The guy said he wouldn't, and we found out later it was because the Biden administration sent feelers out through whatever organization that the pharmacists belonged to, and they sent the teletypes out, if you will, email. I don't give a shit how they did it, but they told them, and they said, don't fill prescriptions for that. So we felt here for the longest time during the Biden thing that they were just preparing for us to die. There was no, like, they were saying the only thing was the vax, right? That was the only thing you can get, and not everybody could get that. It was before we learned it was evil, right? And was harming people. But all these other things, like, you don't have the right to try something that other doctors have told you is working for their patients. You didn't have the right to do that. Well, that's why Trump came up with right to try. That's one thing. It's a little different, but right to try. But I mean, what do they call it? Off
label.
Yeah, off label. Thank you. They do things off label for all kinds of medicines.
Yeah, the thing is that
let's listen to the medical doctor here. Go ahead.
Pharmacists are their personal property. It's their business, or they work for a business that has a pharmacy. Mm-hmm. So that's there. If a pharmacist decides that they don't want to sell birth control pills, they don't have to sell birth control pills.
Okay.
You can't force them to do something that just like any private business. You can't walk into a jewelry shop and ask them to sell you a car. Right. Now, that's true unless you're someone who makes a cake who declines to take the order from
a gay couple that wants to get married. Yeah.
And then they get friggin' sued for it. So,
yeah. Exactly.
But the pharmacist actually does have.
It was a pandemic. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. The pharmacist actually does have discretion in that.
Wait a minute. Wait. Let me ask a question then.
Mm-hmm.
So a pharmacist has discretion. So, okay. So you write a prescription for me for, let's say, Biaxin, right? I have an infection. You say, you know what? Biaxin handles that type of infection really well. So I can go to him and put it in. He go, I don't want to fill that. I think that's bullshit.
Technically, yes, but it is BS, and they would never do that because you're now you're contramanding the doctor's orders, and this person doesn't get better. You're responsible.
Right.
The ivermectin thing. However, the pharmacist can say, I don't have Biaxin. I can't, I just don't deal with Biaxin. I don't have it. I'm sorry. I just don't sell it. I just don't sell it.
Right.
And you'll have to go to a different pharmacy if you want it. That's different. That's different. If you're contramanding a doctor's order, now you're in trouble. But if
this is what I'm talking about, Dr. Jade. I'm talking about this was political.
Yes,
that's what it was.
The point.
We had our government that told pharmacists don't give out ivermectin.
Yeah, that's the whole point.
And then they came up with the lie that ivermectin was horse dewormer, which it's the same product, but it was in a paste, right? We had the freaking paste here. We bought it from pet shops because it was the same thing. And if we had to use it, we were going to use it because our own fucking government wouldn't let us buy it from a pharmacy. That just killed me when they did that. I couldn't believe they went that commie.
Yeah, and that is pretty shady.
Jimmy from Philly's in the house, everybody. What's up, Jim?
So I want to hear the one about Ilhan Omar. I want to know when she's going to be
we're going to do that one next.
An orange jumpsuit.
Sorry, guys. I know all night I've been going off, but
it's
that kind of week.
Hey, listen, did you get vaccinated with a photograph needle today or something?
Vaccinated? No. I had blood work.
Vaccinated with a photograph needle.
Let me see. He says, "Got to run, Rich." Dr. J. Night, folks. See you at 42. Yeah, I'll absolutely be there. Thanks, brother. Thank you. Have a good night. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it. Thanks for the donations. You rock, man. Thank you.
I don't think you heard what I say.
No, I didn't.
You got vaccinated with a phonograph needle.
I don't know what that means. I'm sorry.
Phonograph, record player.
Right.
Noise, talking, music.
Oh, all right. I guess. I don't know. I'm sorry.
Yeah, because you've been going on and on.
All right. There we go. All right. I didn't get the joke. All right.
It was a small joke.
Must be a culture thing. I don't know. Louis, thank you, brother. Thank you. Here's that coffee and a nice bagel with the Nova Blacks. All right, brother. Thank you. Oy vey. Hey, that's Jewish for oy vey. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Ludwig. It was interesting watching old interviews with Carrie Mullis, the Nobel Prize winning inventor of the PCR test, talking about what a hideous fraud Fauci was. Yeah, because they came back later on and said you can't tell the difference between that and the flu. Yeah, you couldn't tell the difference between COVID and the flu. And every single thing that they did, the fucker said, make sure that it's COVID. You had a guy come into a trauma center. He was in a car accident. He died. He died of COVID because the Dems in this country made sure that they got money for every COVID death. What did they call it? The PPE that they had to purchase. That's why they gave them money for it, because you had to buy the
personal
special
protective equipment.
Yeah. And at least that's what they said here. And so you had all these hospitals that were saying, yeah, he died from COVID. Well, wait a minute, he didn't have COVID. It's craziness.
Well, I don't know if he did or did not have COVID, but I know that if you died of something else, if you were like in a car accident and when they did your labs, you happen to have COVID, and then you subsequently passed away from your injuries, they would list COVID as a cause of death. Yeah.
Well, you know what? I watched a documentary not that long ago. It was about the, not the coroners, the guys, the funeral home guys, the embalmers. That was it. The embalmers. Right. And they were saying that during COVID, they were told to STFU about those white things that they were pulling out of people's veins.
The rubbery clots.
Yeah, the rubbery clots and all that. And it was all people that got the Pfizer. Fact checkers! I'm just saying what I've read and seen on video. So they were saying, it was well known that you better not say anything about that, or you could lose your license. You could be charged with a crime. What the hell? In the United States, right?
And by the way, for all the people that are monitoring this podcast, there is no medical advice given on this, neither by Rich or certainly by myself.
Right. We wouldn't listen to her even if she did.
There you go. Thanks for the faith, bro.
Yeah, there you go. All right, let's get into this. The walls are actually closing in on Ilhan Omar and her husband. Oh, no. For years, Ilhan Omar has operated with a kind of political protection most members of Congress can only dream about. Brotherly love and ethics complaints be damned. Financial questions were waved off like they meant nothing. Media allies jumping in too quickly frame any scrutiny as harassment, not accountability. Racism, too. She called the president a racist because he talked about her crap going on up there. It was a dream situation for Ms. Omar, but that protective bubble may finally be ready to pop. Whistleblowers are starting to come forward. Perhaps they can sense the tide turning, and they don't want to be on the wrong side of what comes next. Here we go. From a man of memes. Whistleblowers now confirm Ilhan Omar's campaign funneled a massive amount of money to her husband's firm, while Somali-linked networks in Minneapolis ran one of the biggest COVID relief fraud schemes in history. Hundreds of millions were stolen. She knew, she benefited, she covered for them. This isn't community outreach. This is corruption on steroids. Let's see. So there he is. Let's see.
Well, now investigators are tracking the web of fraud to other Minnesota Democrats, such as Congresswoman Ilhan Omar. Many of the suspects linked to the scheme live in her district, including a restaurant owner who hosted events for her. He has since been convicted of stealing $12 million in COVID funds.
Right. Exactly. So let's get out of that. According to multiple reports, House oversight investigators are now digging into a sudden and dramatic explosion of wealth connected to Omar's household while she was serving in Congress. This, of course, raises, and she's going to, how much you want to bet she's going to come out? So nobody said anything about Nancy Pelosi, right? Nobody said anything. You didn't want to go after her, right? Why? Because she's white. I guarantee she's going to play the race card. She does every time. This, of course, raises serious questions that can't be explained away with talking points, media shields, or race religion cover.
You don't have the story up. I don't know if you wanted the story up.
Oh, yeah, I do. I'm sorry. How did I close that? I really got to learn. Let me see what's. Hold on. Oh, brother. Here we go. Hang on. I'm having a bit of a problem. Hang on. All right, there we go. Whew. My screen like went all the way to the top, and I'm like, how the hell am I supposed to get that back? Sorry. Yeah, you're right. Jabs to visit infants. Exactly. Nonsense. It is nonsense. The whole thing was nonsense. It was. I have my own feelings of what it was. I won't get into it now, but I think it involved Joe Biden and China. What
and what was it like? They came out with, you were supposed to have the babies like with like 6 COVID shots in the first year or two. It was.
Yeah.
I'd have to look at that. I never did pediatrics, so not anything that I know much at all about. Yeah. But I seem to remember they had this. They put COVID on the schedule.
Yeah,
and you had to get it.
Yeah, and I'd be like, no, my kid ain't getting it. And thank God my kids are older. Well, the government got my youngest son serving. He's a sergeant in the Army right now, and they forced him to get the jab before they forced him. The Army did. His drill instructor said, all right, all you guys, because he just got to Fort Benning, right, for boot, and they said, all you guys, get in line and get your COVID shot. And not a single one of them is going to stand up to his DI and go, no, you're not going to do that on your first day. So they all had to get in line. And I'm like, dude, you really took it. He goes, they told me I couldn't be in the Army if I didn't. This was before warm diarrhea brains Joe Biden put that mandate out on federal employees. Date guys at a family reunion. Yeah, she did. I heard that. Ilhan Omar used to date guys at the family reunion. Yeah. Oh my God. What triggered the renewed scrutiny is not a minor paperwork issue or a technical filing error. It's a wealth trajectory that defies normal explanation, and one that congressional investigators say demands answers. Fox News reports that House oversight lawyers are now examining how Omar's politically connected husband went from basically owning nothing to tens of millions. Yeah, they had like $29,000. Now they're like $30 million in reported assets in a remarkably short amount of time. The focus is on these newly formed investment entities, along with unexplained financial growth and potential links to fraud that's already under federal review. Let's watch Jesse. I like Jesse Ward.
Fox News alert, Ilhan Omar under investigation after racking up millions while she was in Congress. Senior national correspondent Kevin Cork has it. What's up, Kevin? Good to see you, my friend. What's the old saying? Follow the money? Well, that's precisely what the House Oversight Committee is doing. They are probing squad member Ilhan Omar's skyrocketing family wealth, Jesse, especially in the wake of that $9 billion, some would argue $19 billion, Somali social services fraud scandal that exploded in her district in Minnesota. The oversight chair, James Comer, says his team's lawyers are exploring the extraordinary step of subpoenaing Omar's spouse over his curious business practices. Republicans want to know how the Somali-born Omar and her politically connected husband, Tim Minette, went from being nearly broke to being worth around $30 million bucks in just a year, according to her 2024 disclosure forms. Quoting Comer now, there are a lot of questions as to how her husband accumulated so much wealth over the past 2 years. It's not possible. It's not. And he's a money guy. Minette and his partner, Will Haler, back in 2022, formed an investment firm, Jesse, named Rose Lake Capital. They had $42 in their bank account at the time, but in a year, up to $25 million, according to Omar's filing. By the way, he also has a wine business that went from next to nothing to millions on its books. Not surprisingly, associates were so perplexed about the irregularities, they brought information and attention to the feds to, look into it. Now, for her part, the Congresswoman has repeatedly, and I say defiantly, denied any wrongdoing while being also careful to criticize the ongoing probe. But, sometimes they say, Jesse, the ones who yell the loudest have the most to hide.
Yep.
Well, innocent until proven guilty. I'm sure everything was perfectly legal.
Right.
Okay, without belaboring the issue, I will just say that it is impossible to go from minimal net worth to 30 million in 4 years. In 4 years. I mean, how do you do that without committing a crime?
Yeah, exactly.
You do that, you're dealing drugs, you're dealing guns.
You got to think, well, shouldn't she share that information of how she did it with her constituents? Shouldn't she?
I think that the Republicans should share that information with her constituents, but most of them wouldn't care.
Right.
She'd get reelected anyway.
That is true. I'm going to bring one in. Hang on. I want to see first if it's Rumble.
Because that's just par for the course where she's from and where a lot of her constituents are from.
Yeah. All right, here we go. So we're going to bring this one in about Don Lemon again, Greg Jarrett. So it says Greg Jarrett, who's the legal guy. He's pretty good. I bought his book, one of his books anyway, and it was pretty good. It was about the whole Russia thing. Greg Jarrett explains why Don Lemon could still face charges, but let's just watch this.
Protesters? Really? Here with analysis, our very own Greg Jarrett. Greg, correct me if I'm wrong, 247, 248 base act. You might want to remind people what it says.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it makes exactly what you've been covering here, what we saw in the video, a crime. And, I must say, rejecting the charges against Don Lemon smells fishy to me. And we may actually learn more about the magistrate's motivations, his bias, his conflict of interest, as Kevin pointed out. Legally, the magistrate would have to have decided that these prosecutors did not meet the standard of probable cause. But, just personally disagreeing with the wisdom or fairness of bringing the case, that's not a valid ground for overriding the charging decision. So, Sean, I thoroughly expect the DOJ to do one of two things here: either bypass the magistrate by going directly to a grand jury for an indictment against Don Lemon, or go to a real district court judge, because, a magistrate is really just a ministerial assistant. He handles misdemeanors and warrants and empties the trash cans. Obviously, here, prosecutors felt that Don Lemon was not merely an observer recording the illegal protest inside the church, which would be a typical journalist's role. Right. No, instead, he seemed to be a very active participant who embedded himself with the mob, joined their cause in harassing and tormenting these parishioners. And in fact, Lemon's own videotape incriminates him as he confronts the pastor with contentious questions, same way the agitators did. And you can see and hear Lemon defending them all and taking up their cause, arguing they're allowed to invade the church, disrupt the service, shut down worshipers, which shows a stunning ignorance of the law by Lemon. I mean, this is a protected place. It's off limits. Everybody knows that. And it's a crime to invade and obstruct. And to make matters worse, Lemon later called the congregants entitled white supremacists. So that's not just despicable, Sean, but it shows they were targeted because of their race, which only strengthens the criminal civil rights violations under the FACE Act and 247.
Yep.
And in fact, it qualifies as a hate crime, a double hate crime, because the targets were based on race and religion.
Right.
So, simply calling yourself a journalist, that's not a defense. It's your behavior that counts. That's what the law examines. And Lemon's conduct was, in my opinion, deplorable.
Appreciate it, bro. Thank you.
Greg, let me ask you, because it says specifically that it protects people seeking reproductive health services, as well as when exercising their First Amendment right of religious freedom at a place of worship. And it prohibits the use of physical force, threats, obstruction, intimidation tactics to interfere with such, correct?
Yeah, it's absolutely clear. You're reading from the FACE Act, which is codified in 18 U.S.C. 247, and then the government doubled down on it for protection. They enacted 248, which basically mirrors the FACE Act with slightly different language. But the bottom line is, under both those civil rights laws, it is a crime.
But basically what he's not saying is that the Republicans would not go along with the FACE Act on abortion clinics if they didn't, if the Democrats didn't accept churches and other houses of worship. So that's what he's basically saying. So everybody says, well, the FACE Act is supposed to be only for abortion clinics. No, houses of worship and all houses of worship.
Read the act. Read the act.
Yeah, exactly. Well, they don't do that on the left.
To storm a church, interrupt it, and, target the worshipers in there. Don Lemon is mistaken if he thinks, the First Amendment, the Constitution protects us. We can protest anywhere we want. No, time, place, and manner, says the Supreme Court, and it is strictly restricted, particularly in churches or any house of worship, be it a Episcopalian church, a Catholic church, or a mosque.
Yeah.
All right, Greg Jarrett, thank you for that analysis. We appreciate it. Now let's turn.
Awesome. Yeah, Greg Jarrett's good because he breaks shit down so that even a moron like me can understand it.
Sean Hannity has gotten much better over the years.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
He used to be a bit of a dick.
I didn't think he was ever a dick. I just thought, like, a lot of people complain because he interrupts when you talk.
That's what he used to do. He would interrupt and talk over you and not let you get in anything you wanted to say.
That I think that's because I do that too. And I think that's because, are you calling me a dick? That's because he's so excited to get his political point across that he forgets that he's being rude.
Yeah, but one of the reasons that, well, I don't know if it's one of the reasons I find it, but it's an extremely annoying technique that Democrats use. As soon as you start to say something, they talk over you. If you want to see that in action, just look at some of the weird interviews they have going, the Scott Jennings being, in his panel when he's making a point and people talk over him, and
right.
He's good though. He is very good.
Oh, Scott Jennings, awesome. Yeah. Hold on a sec. Hold on. Willie, you got a channel? Ludwig said, congrats on 1,000 subs. So your channel is all right. I'm going to see. Hang on. I got to see this. That's awesome. Let me see what we can do. And what is it? We just put his name in. Can I? Sorry, guys. Just be a sec. Where is it? There he is. I'm just going to copy that. Put it in. Let me see. Oh, very cool. I'm a subbed. There you go. I'm going to put it. Guys, if you haven't already, sub his channel, okay? Please. You see, you got 1,000? Nice. Over 1,000 subscribers, 3.5. Nice. Cool, man. All right, guys.
What are they doing with the birthright citizenship?
Yeah, let's go over that. Let's see.
So I don't know if I want to pay much attention to it till it comes back from the Supreme Court, because anything you say before then is pretty. But it's interesting if the administration put up a different brief.
Yeah, and then I believe there were some amicus briefs that were put in as well. Amicus briefs, guys, if you don't know, it's just when a group of people that have nothing to do with the case, but they are professionals that could have something to say. They put together an amicus brief and they send it to the court, and the court, the judge could either read it or not. He could let it affect him or not. Libnuts do this in order to sway a judge or a jury. Yeah. That's why they do it.
It's called amicus because it's a friend of the court brief.
Yeah, friend of the court. Yeah. And well, they say they're a friend of the court. Most of them are not, but it basically is a way that you can get an opinion. Usually you do it with more than one person as well. It puts a little more weight on it. But the Libnuts do that. They do a lot of things. They created a lot of things for themselves,
but now they're really kicked off that we can use the FACE Act that they created to protect the abortion clinics.
Oh yeah, I know. Well, yeah, but like you said, read the bill because it's always in there.
It's right there.
Yeah, it was always in there. Yeah, and they have other things like that. They create precedents, and I forget what the term is called, but they'll create a precedent where they say, well, another judge will, if he has a similar case, he'll just refer to that last one. And the reason why, if you have a progressive judge and everybody went, yay, what a great ruling, right? Well, now the Libnuts say, well, you can't go against precedent. Well, yeah, you can. That's why you're a judge.
Unless it's a superior court above yours.
Right. Well, exactly. But I'm saying you can't say the reason why they did that is because then they want the Libnuts to say, okay, well, we're gonna shun judges if they don't refer to that. I forget what they call it though, but they've been doing that shit for years. Yeah, for years now, Americans have been told that birthright citizenship is settled law. It's never been settled law. As long as abortion was never settled law. People were always filing things to stop it, to water it down, stuff like that. So they've been convinced it's untouchable and obvious. If you're born on American soil, you're automatically a U.S. citizen. One of the dumbest contentions I've ever heard. End of discussion. And if you question that idea, it wasn't just discouraged. You were branded some kind of unconstitutional traitor. This has been the ruse designed to keep the sham going. As you likely know, President Trump is trying to put an end to this farce. The moment he signed the executive order, see, he had to do an executive order. And it would, let me just say this, it was fucking brilliant that he did an executive order on this because they're saying you can't change law just by an executive order. He wasn't changing law. See, this is the brilliance of Trump. Because what happened was, if you read the 14th Amendment, right? If you read the birthright, what they call the anchor baby clause, and if you execute it correctly, they're wrong. Okay? Because it does not say, because it says subject to the jurisdiction thereof. We've gone over this. And somehow those words they get filtered out when it goes through a Libnut mind. They read it and go, and they skip it. And you're like, wait a minute, it says, where? I don't see that, right? They just never want to entertain that's what it says in there. And subject to the jurisdiction thereof, meaning your parents have to be at least one parent has to be a citizen. That's what that means. Because your parents are subject to the jurisdiction of the United States. You're not subject to the jurisdiction of your former homeland. That's an important distinction. And then I go for the throat with the Libnuts that argue back, and I say, okay, then why do citizens take an oath of office that says that they renounce all allegiance to their former potentate, president, king, monarch, and that they will throw full allegiance into the United States of America, our Constitution, yada, 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 all the bullshit, right? That's important stuff, right? Because when you take that oath, see, Democrats always think an oath is just, one of the things you got to do to get the job or to get whatever you want. No, an oath says that, okay, now you're on record that you swore this. This is why do you take an oath when you go on the stand? So they can hold you accountable. That's what this is all about. Well, the libnuts always wanted that chain migration bullshit where you say your kid, you dropped your kid on American soil, therefore the kids, and then all of a sudden all his aunties and uncles keep flooding in, through chain migration bullshit, right? Legal briefs are flying back and forth, and Team Trump just challenged the entire narrative head on with a bombshell nobody saw coming, not even legal nerds. Here we go. In a newly filed brief at the Supreme Court, the Trump admin isn't arguing politics or modern talking points like so many experts thought they would. No. Nay. They're doing something much more powerful. They are arguing history. Exactly. And once you see what they put on the record, it'll be clear to you why this entire birthright debate has been shut down for so long. What Team Trump put in front of the Supreme Court of the United States was a very long paper trail showing how birthright citizenship has been understood for decades under the 14th Amendment, after the 14th Amendment was ratified. As the catch is big because that understanding looks nothing like the version we're living with today. The 14th Amendment doesn't say anyone born in U.S. soil is automatically a citizen. It says citizenship applies to those born in the United States, like I just said, and subject to the jurisdiction thereof. Do I know my shit? Anyway, that second part is the key. Being subject to the jurisdiction. I swear to God, I did not read this, guys. Being subject to the jurisdiction didn't just mean being physically here. It meant a lot more. It meant allegiance and I could have written this, and being fully under U.S. authority, not just temporarily hanging out on a layover while having loyalty to another country. According to the historical record laid out in the brief, legal scholars, judges, and commentators from the late 1800s into the early 1900s said the same thing over and over. The Supreme Court, Jade, has to take this into consideration. Children born to parents who were only temporarily in the United States were not automatically citizens. In fact, Senator Howard of Michigan, Democrat, no, he was a Republican, came out and said in the well of the Senate, I don't know why I have to keep repeating this, but this does not mean that an alien or what did he call them? A foreign national can come into the United States, have a child, and the child becomes a citizen. They did it for the children of slaves because they were so afraid that the evil Democrats would get power in the state and say, well, you know what, you can't be a citizen because you were property. Your parents were property. That's what they wanted. But since they granted citizenship to all the parents, all the former slaves, so now they're children because they're subject to the jurisdiction of the United States. So that means tourists, travelers, and foreign nationals, just said it, just passing through were not treated as citizens by default. And this wasn't some random fringe interpretation. It shows up again and again in popular legal writings from that time. Now the libs will say, well, it's 2026. You got to get with it. Kiss my Irish ass. The widely accepted assumption was that citizenship meant being an actual part of the American political community, not just your geographical location at the time of birth. And they always point to the Wong Ark case, right? The Chinese case. And I always say the Wong Ark case actually makes our point for us. I remember I did a video on David, the Fudge Packman, right? I did a video on him because he came out and was arguing this in the liberal way. And he was saying, well, the Wong Ark case, the judge let him be, but he didn't understand it because he's not as bright as he thinks he is. The Wong Ark case was, there was the son of two Chinese that had permanent residence status. They weren't citizens. They had permanent residence status. And he had to go to China for some reason. Had to visit the homeland, right? Their original homeland. So he comes back. They won't let him into the country. They said, you're not a citizen. You can't come in, because there was some anti-Chinese immigration in those days. But he said, no, I'm a citizen. I'm here. They're like, no, you're not. So they took it to the Supreme Court, and the court ruled, which I think was brilliant. The court ruled, okay. And this is where the libnuts lose every time. The court said, okay, so we know that subject to the jurisdiction thereof means that a parent, at least one of the parents, has to be a citizen. However, the Wong Ark's parents, our government gave them the status of legal permanent residents. Now, what does that mean? When you come into the United States and you apply to be a citizen, you don't automatically get a green card or blue or whatever color they are today. I mean, Jay can tell you all this. You don't automatically get it. You have to work for that shit, okay? You have to prove that you're not here to have dual citizenship, that you're not going to leave. You want to become an American. You want to assimilate. You want to be an American, right? And they finally, after you pass the test, pay enough money, right? They give you permanent legal status, because they say, okay, so now you get your green card. Now you can apply for citizenship because you've proven to us and that you've done enough. We now believe you that you want to stay here because you didn't leave the country and come back. You didn't bring other people in with you. You actually are doing the things that a person who wants to be a citizen. So they said, okay, we're going to allow that type of situation to be subject to the jurisdiction thereof. And therefore, Wong Ark won, and he was able to come into the country and stay. But the point of that whole thing is that the libnuts are saying, well, even the Wong Ark case proved it because the court let him stay here because his parents weren't citizens. No, it's the fact that it's that term, that part of the clause, and subject to the jurisdiction thereof, that gets them every single time. So let's see. That's the part most Americans were never told, but now it's about to be front page news. So he says, the government's birthright brief has been filed. The most impressive part, which I hadn't fully appreciated since my focus has been the common law, is the sheer number of commentators who presume for decades that temporary visitors didn't qualify for birthright citizenship. All right, exactly. Once you see the receipts, it starts becoming very clear why this debate was shut down so aggressively for so long, because they were wrong. They were flat out dead wrong. And then they tried to say, like, another wave of libnuts came in and tried to say, well, that's only for diplomats. What? That's only for diplomats. And it was because it was another case where there's two different types of diplomats, all right, for a country. One is just one that is allowed to come into the country to deliver something or to work on a project real quick and get the hell out. The other one lives here forever. And so they had one where recently this guy, his father was one of those types, but he lied and said he was the other type so that he could stay here. So it all has to do with subject to the jurisdiction thereof.
Yeah, but diplomats who are stationed here for years, their kids are not American citizens.
No, they're not. They're not. But because of it's because of the type of diplomat they are, they're allowed to stay here, but they're not citizens. They could be asked to leave at any given time. But they are here for long-term missions, right? Just like our diplomats live in other countries for long-term missions. And long-term could be 5 years, 8 years, 80 years. It's up to your country that puts you back in. But anyway, as we can now see, it emerged because of the meaning of the key phrase was quietly weaponized and then declared off limits to question. Sounds familiar, right? That's what liberals always do. So here we go. Does he talk about Ark? Because he talks about Chinese-born, naturalized parents such as being domiciled are not citizens. Yeah, a treaties in the conflict of laws. Indians are held. All right, cool. Let's read this last part. The screenshots attached to the post tell the story better than any expert ever could. Page after page of respected legal authorities, all saying some version of the same exact thing. Now, if the Democrats really believe in precedent, right, that you have to follow precedent, right? If they really believe that you have to do that, then they should follow the precedent of all these legal scholars. So it's loyalty, jurisdiction, and permanence mattered. And it still does. The Supreme Court, Jade, they have to rule with Trump. They have to, or they're going to be laughing stocks.
Yeah,
Hey, what's up, Special K? Good to see you, man. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. The other one that's important is the tariffs case. They have to let that one go. I mean, that'll destroy us if they come against that. All right.
Yeah. What did they call
What's
it?
next?
Yeah, stare decisis. That was the term that I was trying to look up.
Okay.
Stare decisis is the term where they say that if a judge makes a ruling and it's been accepted, you have to follow. If you're the next judge and a similar case comes up, you have to follow stare decisis and go with the ruling of the prior. No, you don't. But what happens is when all the judges get together, for the summits or whatever the hell judges do, right? When they get together, they all shun the guys that don't do that. And I say, fuck you. I wouldn't want to hang out with you anyway.
I've been thrown out of better clubs than this.
Yeah. I would never join a club that would have me as a member. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's do the next one.
We've heard enough about Don Lemon.
No, you can never hear enough about Don Lemon.
Oh,
but
God.
I'm not going to do
I've heard
that
enough
one.
about him.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that one right now. Let's do Eric Swalwell. I did a really cool, you see the picture there? It was of the jackass, because he's a jackass. That's why. Let me see. I'll bring it up. All right, there he is. That's it. Doesn't it look like him too, with that stupid ass smile and whatnot? But let's get to it. Share this instead. Here we go. Swalwell, ICE as it exists today needs to be completely dismantled. and he's running for governor, and he would dismantle it if he could, but he can't. Thursday on CNN's The Arena, Representative Eric Fartswell from California said immigration and customs enforcement as it exists today needs to be completely dismantled. Host Casey Hunt, I said Hunt, said the vice president was in Minneapolis today. He acknowledged that ICE has likely made some mistakes, that mistakes have happened. Do you have an understanding of what they may be acknowledging there or saying? I mean, why come out and say that today? After what we've heard from them in the past, where they insisted that the ICE officer that shot Renee Good should have absolute immunity. Well, it was called self-defense, really. And he does have immunity anyway. That's why the feds aren't going to charge him, because they understand what happened, right? They have sense. The state can't charge him because he had, what's it called, governing immunity. And then he can't even be sued in a civil court for the same reason. So Swalwell said, yes. No, he said, yeah, well, it's what you just said earlier about what happened on January 6th. We're watching January 6th. We're watching this with our own eyes. We're watching what ICE doing with their own eyes. That made no sense. We saw that woman be shot with her own eyes. Is he drunk? And what I've said is, governors, he has to be drunk. I'm reading it. And what I've said is, governors, period. I will use the powers of the office. I think he meant what I've said is, as a governor, I will. If you're going to wear a mask as an ICE agent in your state, I will take away your driver's license. He can't do that. He's going to take away a driver's license. You live in Maine and you're working in California. He's going to take away your fucking driver's license. Plus, I would tell him, well, then tell all your fucking SWAT departments to stop wearing masks, because they wear them for the exact same reason. Exact same reason. I had somebody point out, they showed that there's SWAT in LA, that they all wear masks. They all cover in the sunglasses because they don't want to get doxxed by the same jackasses that would dox ICE, right? If you're going to work for fascist, this guy's like a real piece of work. Forget about working in this state so we are not weak. This guy wants to be governor. We have to go on offense. Otherwise, the most vulnerable in our communities are on defense. And I urge every governor to start protecting their people in their state that way. Wow. He added, no one asked for this, and ICE, as it exists today, needs to be completely dismantled. This guy he's a class A jackass. It's funny how the Democrats have taken to support. I mean, Jimmy from Philly put something up yesterday. I watched the meme and I laughed my ass. It says, like, what kind of, I think I'm just paraphrasing, what kind of stupid do you have to be that you are actually supporting murder and rape? And he's right. He was talking about the anti-ICE people, right? Democrats love them some COVID. Ooh, boy. Yeah, it's exactly right. Exactly right. Yeah, rest. LOL. I know. Let's go to the next one. Let's see.
How about the story on Daryl Issa? Let's drop down.
Daryl Issa is pretty good. Yeah, I was going to get in. I was going to do the Don Lemon one.
I've heard enough about him.
The judge. No, I haven't. Where the judge turn around and the judge is related or works for whatever to the AG, who was also a creep. All right, so fireworks. I wrote explosions. Representative Daryl Issa lights up Jack Smith for targeting political enemies. Misleading judge in Arctic frost investigation. Jamie Raskin loses his mind. He puts this up. Let's just go right to the video. Here we go.
From California.
Mr. Smith, do you see criminals to my left?
Are there criminals here?
You don't see any. Do you see people who are committing crimes because they continue to believe things that just aren't true? That's paraphrasing Ronald Reagan, that liberals aren't stupid. They just know things that don't happen to be true. If the president believed that he was cheated in an election, that there was fraud or in some other way.
Yeah, think about this, guys, before we get into this. A president of the United States has every legal right to complain about an election. Trump did nothing wrong. And others jumped on this asshole, Jack Smith, saying, so you think it was illegal that the president of the United States went around saying that the election was rigged because he believed it was rigged. Then they say, well, we have all these other people that are saying that he said, I can't believe I lost to this guy. Well, that doesn't mean that he's admitting that he lost to Joe Biden. What he's saying is all the news now is saying that I lost, and it's going to be a real uphill battle to prove it because the judges aren't even accepting our cases. And so when he said, so all these jackasses are there today saying, well, he even admitted it. No, he did not.
A number of items led to his defeat when, in fact, he should have won according to the Constitution. Does that make him a criminal?
Right.
Sir, no, that's a yes or no, please, Mr. Smith. These people here are continuing to grapple constantly with things that aren't true, like socialism works, or that somehow everything the Republicans do is evil and everything they do is right. They've never reached a conclusion in a typical partisan case in which we're not evil because we think something different and we're not wrong. You understand the Constitution. Do you understand the Bill of Rights, that someone has the absolute right to believe something, whether it's true or not, and to advocate for something, whether it's true or not? Do you understand that in addition to your oath to the Constitution, that that's one of the things the First Amendment allows for, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so if you know that people have a right to opine, lobby for, assert, do everything they can legally to ask for people to make different decisions, then why is it you saw criminal conduct on behalf of a president who believed he didn't win? Chairman Jordan and myself have something in common along with a number of others here. We saw wrongdoing, and on January 6th, we voted not to confirm 2 states because they had violated the U.S. Constitution in how they selected who got ballots. And yet, you're going to come here and say, oh, I just followed the law. When you went after these people and you said, well, technically I can do that, you didn't see any selective nature or any separation of powers under the Constitution to spying on the activities and the conversations of the Speaker of the House? To what end would conversations between the Speaker of the U.S. House, third or second in line to be the president, and the president?
Look at the look on this woman's face. Look at the contempt.
In what basis would it be any of your business other than you believe that there was a conspiracy without conspiracy as a basic premise?
Yep.
You, like the president's men for Richard Nixon, went after your political enemies.
Yeah.
Maybe they're not your political enemies, but they sure as hell were Joe Biden's political enemies, weren't they? They were Harris's political enemies. They were the enemies of the president, and you were their arm, weren't you?
Yep.
No.
Yeah, you were.
Oh,
liar.
great. So you spied on the Speaker of the House and these other senators and so on, and informed no one, and in fact put in a gag order so they couldn't discover it. If they were not subjects of a conspiracy investigation, why did Congress, a separate branch that you, under the Constitution, have to respect, why is it that no one should be informed, including the judges?
Right.
As you went in to spy on these people, did you mention that you were spying on?
People don't know all the shit that this man did.
Seeking records so you could find out about when conversations occurred between the U.S. Speaker of the House and the president. Did you inform the judge, or did you hold that back?
My office didn't spy on anyone.
Wait a second. The question I asked you, Mr. Smith, was pretty straightforward. Did you withhold that information from an Article III judge in the process of taking the records of the Speaker of the House?
We complied with department.
Did you hold back
Mr. Chairman,
that
would you please instruct the gentleman to allow the witness to answer the question?
It's not your time. I'd like my
He's the biggest slime ball around that you just heard from.
Mr. Chairman, you have repeatedly done that in the past. The witness has the right to answer the question.
And there'll be due time to answer the question. Would you please put my time back and let me finish this? Mr. Smith, I asked you a question and you were not responsive to it, and I want you to be responsive to it. Did you, whether you think it was legal or not, whether you think it was right or not, did you withhold the name of Kevin McCarthy, Speaker of the House, when you were seeking records on Kevin McCarthy, the Speaker of the House, or Jim Jordan, the chairman of this committee?
At the time the gentleman is...
No, please give me back the time that would take it away.
Time has expired, but we're going to let the witness answer your question because it's an important question. The witness can respond.
We did not provide that information to the judge when we requested a non-disclosure order, consistent with the law and consistent with department.
Mr. Chairman, the amazing thing here today is that we have an admission that an article.
Mr. Chairman, the gentleman's time has expired by now 34 seconds.
It gets more than 5 minutes.
How many times you interrupt me?
The time belongs to the gentleman from California, but it has expired.
I will be brief in my address to the chairman. We have the evidence that an Article I representative on behalf of the president withheld from Article III.
Mr. Chairman, I witness granted the same leniency.
And with that, I yield back in disgust of this witness.
I would never be able to be a member of Congress.
Never.
Oh, I'd be throwing shit at them. Shut the fuck up. I mean, I would be out of there. They would throw me out. Yeah. Reclaiming my time, biatch. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what would happen.
Oh, this will be a good one. The Speaker Johnson. I want to hear what he wants to do with the anti-Trump judges.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll do that next.
Yeah, that's a good one. I mean, they're all good, but
yeah,
I'm trying to spread us out.
I usually start Thursday nights and I grab like the hottest ones of the day, but I leave room for Fridays because it's the latest. So this was one I got yesterday. Speaker Johnson backs effort to impeach activist judges over anti-Trump rulings. Now, the left is going to take something like that. Now, Slay's they're a good publication, by the way. But they're going to take that and say, oh, so the speaker doesn't like it. The Republicans don't like it when a judge rules against them. Well, yeah, if they do it illegally, if they go outside of their jurisdiction. You know, if you're a district judge, it's because you have a district which has boundaries, right? They make these national rulings. You can't do that. And yet everybody's supposed to comply with it. They expect you to comply with it until a superior court tells you to stop it, right? And smacks you down. No, that's not how it goes. And you know what? The Supreme Court at one point told the Trump administration, if he does it again about Boasberg, ignore him. They didn't say those words, but when you read it, it was like, wow. They said you don't have to comply if it goes outside of the jurisdiction. We're giving you that right. And they didn't even say it in those words, but that's what they were saying. House Speaker Mike Johnson has confirmed that he would support articles of impeachment against Democrat-aligned activist federal judges who have repeatedly overstepped their constitutional authority to undermine President Donald Trump. It's about freaking time. Johnson signaled that the House may move forward with the effort after months of growing frustration with what conservatives describe as judicial activism. Speaking at a press conference on Wednesday, Johnson was asked about Senate Republicans urging the House to pursue impeachment proceedings against specific judges. He said, "I'm for it. Judge Boasberg is one who's been mentioned. He should be the top of the list because he's the biggest piece of crap in doing all this." And then Burl Howe, she should be the next one. Who names their daughter Burl? Come on. Johnson emphasized that impeachment is not a step Congress should take lightly, but argued that the conduct of some judges has crossed the line. You think? Quote, impeachment, as we have discussed all together many, many times, is an extreme measure, Johnson said. Well, not really. The Democrats impeached Trump twice for nothing. He did nothing wrong. And they lied. They made shit up. They withheld evidence. Yeah. But extreme times call for extreme measures. And I think some of the judges have gotten so far outside the bounds of where they're supposed to operate. It would not be, in my view, a bad thing for Congress to lay down the law, so to speak, and to make an example of some of these egregious abuses. That's what I say. Take away one judge's job and fine him, maybe fine him, whatever. And the other judges just might get in line saying, you know what? That may happen to me. Fuck that. I want to keep my lifetime appointment. All right. And you know how easy it is to impeach a judge? All they have to do is show one time that he was behaving, not behaving in good manner, I think it is. Part of being a judge, a lifetime federal judge, is it says in the Constitution in good behavior. It says, and in good behavior shall have a lifetime appointment. So if you can show he's not behaving in a good manner, meaning he kept violating his authority, they can just impeach him based on the words that are in the Constitution. So the Speaker did not provide a timeline for when impeachment articles might be formally introduced, saying only we'll see where it goes, which means it'll never happen. Under the Constitution, the House needs only a simple majority to impeach a federal judge. Removal, however, requires 2/3 vote in the Senate. Republican lawmakers have already begun laying the groundwork. What this means is that everybody has to vote in the damn midterms. Vote Republican, because if they take back either house, it's over. Everything Trump can do is over. I don't think they would be able to get a conviction in the Senate, no matter what, but just the fact that he would have to fight these a-holes again from an impeachment perspective, and he would get nothing through. If they ran the House, he would get nothing through, which is why he's working so quickly now, because he realizes that if they win, the country's screwed. And the Democrats go, yay, we're going to screw the country. It came after Boasberg's rulings blocked President Trump from using the Alien Enemies Act to deport Venezuelan illegal alien gang members. Gill also introduced impeachment articles against Boasberg in November, a separate decision tied to the Arctic frost investigation. Separately, Representative Chip Roy of Texas introduced an impeachment resolution in October targeting District Judge Deborah Boardman for an indefensibly lenient sentence in the case of Nicholas Rosk, the man who traveled to the home of conservative Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh in 2022 with a plan to kill him. Boardman sentenced Ross to 8 years in prison, far below the more than 30 years sought by federal prosecutors, because they're a libnut. Roy's resolution argues that the sentence failed to reflect the gravity of an assassination attempt against a sitting Supreme Court justice. Now, you know, if they went after Ketanji Brown Jackson or Sotomayor or Elena Kagan, you know that they would have got 30 years. Senator Ted Cruz, chair of the Senate Commerce Committee, said earlier this month that both judges, quote, meet the standard for impeachment and for conviction and removal from office. He's right. We don't need to read anymore. So they're gearing up to go after the bad judges, and they should, because every time Democrats lose power, they always rely on the judges to give them what they couldn't get legislatively through the process. It happens every single time. Wood clogs. I must have missed that. Be an intern, pass the shoe, disguised gentleman to throw. Let's see what else we got. Al Gore actually booed Howard Lutnick. Howard Lutnick, for those who don't know, he's in the Trump administration, and he was over at Davos talking about the economy and everything. He's a good guy. So Al Gore, of all people, Al Gore, the guy that invented the internet, he's there, right? And he goes and he heckles him. So former Vice President Al Gore on Tuesday booed Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick during his speech at a VIP dinner in Davos, Switzerland. The Financial Times reported the dinner descended into uproar after combative remarks from Lutnick, because Lutnick got back at him, right? He says, I sat and listened to his remarks, Gore said at a statement to Mediaite. I didn't interrupt him in any way. He did, actually. It's no secret that I think this administration's energy policy is insane. This is the same guy who talked about, the oceans are going to rise and temperatures are going to, New York City by, the year 2020, New York City was going to be gone. It's going to be underwater. These assholes always make these climate change and global warming, these predictions, and they're always 10 years off, right? So 10 years go by and you go, hey, asshole, it didn't come true. In fact, it was the exact opposite of what happened. Well, it doesn't matter because I'm working on a new theory right now. This is what they do, and they get paid for this shit by the NGOs. They get paid to do this kind of stuff. So he said, and at the end of his speech, I reacted with how I felt, and so did several others. It doesn't matter. The several others weren't a former vice president. Thankfully, we didn't come to Davos for Al Gore's praise, he wrote. But here's what really came about. I'm going to try to bring this up and see if I can. No, I can't. I got to bring. Well, I'll just read it. This here. It was the battleground. The guy says he posted, my buddy in Davos. Let me bring it up a little. Yeah, my buddy in Davos was in the room. And this was reported, by the way, by the news. My buddy in Davos was in the room and was able to get a rough transcript. Secretary Lutnick. And that is why the transatlantic economic relationship is undergoing a fundamental, and you hear, boo. So Lutnick says, sorry, please quiet down. I was speaking. The unknown voice said, I said boo. It's a colloquial way to show disapproval. Boo. And Lutnick goes, is that Al Gore? And Gore supposedly, and I heard that Gore supposedly said, fuck you, Howard. And Lutnick goes, Al, come on, you're embarrassing yourself. And he goes, fuck you. And then Lutnick comes back and says, he looks at the crowd and he says, who gave the former vice president a second glass of Chardonnay? And everybody fucking lost it laughing. I thought that was funny. But anyway, so Al Gore is out heckling people now. So here's the Greenland deal, right? Trump calls off tariffs over Greenland, announces framework of future Arctic deal. Now, you remember, all these European countries in solidarity, they sent all these troops, like probably 10 each, right? They sent them over to Greenland. Like, we're going to stand up to you Americans. You might want to talk to the army of Venezuela about that. You just might want to, right? Because they have some things they could teach you about what would happen if you thought you're going to go, you guys are going to go to war with the United States. Anyway, it says this solution, remember they were all saying it's never going to happen. Well, now he has a deal, right? This solution, if consummated, will be great one for the United States of America and all NATO nations, Trump wrote on Truth Social. So President Trump has pulled back a threat to impose new tariffs on European countries on February 1 after signaling progress on a deal addressing U.S. interests in Greenland. Following a meeting with NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte in Davos, Switzerland on January 21, Trump said he formed the framework of a future deal for the island and the greater Arctic region. This solution, if consummated, will be great for the United all that bullshit. So based upon this understanding, I will not be imposing the tariffs that were scheduled to go into effect on February 1st. Now, I'm wondering if they just said it so that they wouldn't, they just, oh, yeah, we'll talk about it in the near future. Don't give us those tariffs, right? Trump offered some additional details about the development in an interview with CNBC. We took the tariff threat off because it looks like we have pretty much a concept of a deal. All right, see, Trump, he's using the tariffs to get his way, right? But the way I see it is, I don't want China or Russia just moving in and building, military, like taking it over militarily, which is what all the lib nuts were saying. Oh, Trump's going to go in there military. They had all these people they were interviewing, like over in Greenland, like crying and shit. Like, is he going to bring the military in? I'm like, oh my God, Jesus Christ. And Trump even said, like in his speech, he goes, look, nothing's going to change. You're still going to have your laws. You're just going to have more money, and you're going to have the protection of the United States now. And our media they don't like it. Instead of trying to make it look like Trump's going to act like a dictator and take them over.
It was kind of like the decision that the Japanese faced at the end of the war with the Russians coming down from the north,
right,
and the Allies coming in from the sea, and they faced a decision. It's like Stalin, Allies,
right?
Which one? Okay, if I pick Stalin, because their emperor was really motivated to stay alive, so the emperor says, well, if I pick Stalin, I'm going to get shot. All my family's going to get shot, and most of my friends are going to disappear. If I pick the Allies, I'd probably stay alive. Guess which one he picked?
Oh, exactly. But see, the other thing is too, the reason why they said it has to be, they had to have the emperor on that ship during the ceremony, and he had to tell the Japanese people that he was not a god. They thought he was a god, and that's one of the reasons why we had to drop the bomb, because they had to make a decision. They said, look, if we go on land in Japan, we could lose, like, between us and the Japanese people, 1 million lives. Because when you think that you're fighting for a god and you believe that is a god, you're going to fight to the death, and you're never going to give up, right?
Yeah.
So that's why he had to say, I am not divine.
If we would have sent in troops, and they'd have been fighting house to house.
Oh yeah.
And I would
have been George Bush all over again.
It would have been, I mean, we saved, I don't know the numbers.
They said 1 million lives. That's the estimate.
I would say that we probably saved at least 100,000 American soldiers' lives, and probably 1 million Japanese lives.
Stalin wasted a lot of time, right?
But he did like killing people.
Oh yeah, Stalin loved that. Yeah, I love in the Ukraine, how when they did the famine, I saw these letters. It was another documentary that I watched, and they said all these letters went to Stalin saying, please, sir, help us. They're starving. It's not realizing he was the one who did it to them. Yeah. All right. Let's do some videos. Let's see. Oh yeah, guys, you got it. This is the one of the night. These are some disturbing videos of liberal women. You're gonna like this. Surprised I waited this long. It's a new survey uncovers the disturbing shift among liberal women, right? And it starts off, I'm sorry. It starts off with Renee Good, but here we go. I should just skip right down, but let me read a little bit, okay? Grant here. Over roughly the past decade, liberal violence has reached unimaginable levels. And they say that the right are the violence. From the rise of Antifa to the assassination of Charlie Kirk, it's evident that the left is driving this trend. But lately, there have been more and more women taking center stage in this violence. And this isn't just hearsay. Nope, it's backed up by the numbers. Let's get into it, or let's break it down. A new survey is out, and it's justifying what's been felt culturally for a while, but rarely quantified. A growing acceptance of political violence, with the sharpest shift appearing among liberal women. And it's true. Think about it. They're the ones that are all out on the streets wearing the pink pussy hats and all that, right? And screaming and getting violent now with people, right? Respondents weren't asked specifically whether they planned to hurt anyone, but instead were asked whether violence could be acceptable, understandable, or justified in the pursuit of their political goals. And surprise, surprise, liberal women answered with a resounding yes. 67% of the left of center respondents saw murder as justified, compared to 54% on the right. A year ago, left of center support was 56%. Women overall were about 15% more likely to support assassination culture. Holy Christ. Are you kidding me? Of course, you don't really need a survey to see the absolute madness, and that's what it is, madness that is the modern liberal woman. Just casually scrolling on social media will present a bevy of hostile liberal ladies all over the internet, screaming, swearing, and straight up putting hands on anyone with they disagree with. Fact checkers, I'm just playing a video. There's a lot of F-bombs in there. So kids, go away. This liberal white woman is batshit crazy, he writes. Where do you see this? She is out of her mind. I mean, I'm being serious.
So a woman just got shot in the fucking face. Not only was she shot in the fucking face trying to... First of all, if any man...
What is it with these septum rings and piercings?
Tries to reach into my car, I'm driving the fuck away. First of all. Second of all, the most agitating part about all of this, our dumb, stupid-ass, fucking orange-ass, retarded-ass fucking president is up on there like, oh, she was trying to run him over.
Look at her.
This can't be happening! This
Look at it.
can't be happening! And people wonder why I called
I want to know what's in her water.
off family members for fucking dick riding this fucking retarded-ass agency!
Boy, I don't think I'll get a strike, but I can't monetize it.
Anyone with a brain!
Look at her. Look at that. Guys,
notice the tongue piercing as well.
Yeah, but guys, look at that. And just how she's screaming.
Not if she was the last woman in the world, right?
Right. Now think about it. Like, what gets a person to this level? Is it the media lying all the time? Is it colleges telling you that the life they've created for feminism inside the college is how the world is really going to be when they graduate? Right? Is it, you know, your parents that are lib nuts themselves and tell you that the world's your oyster and you find out reality sucks? Right? Like think, look at this.
Can watch that video. Nobody got run over, and we have a president fucking spreading.
I'd like to know how she got the black eye.
Even more
Like, who didn't she listen to?
propaganda. This whole entire administration is literally functioning off propaganda.
You see how quickly she went, and she got all calm and shit. Oh man, can you imagine a hot August night with that? Can you imagine?
I can't imagine spending an hour in the same room.
Yeah.
And you fucking dumb Trumpy ass bitches are gonna eat that shit the fuck up.
Look at her.
And they're gonna go kill 100 more. While you sit there and say, oh, were they legal?
It's like, Grandma, was that really you?
No! I want the fuck out of this fucking country, bro. Dead ass. I don't care
Bye.
how crazy I look right now. We should be going crazy.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, she said one thing I agree with.
Yeah.
Turn the clock in tomorrow.
Oh, good.
She said one thing I agree with.
Yeah.
That she should be out of the country.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Now there's another one, and it's pretty damn good. There's a couple that are really good, but watch these women are out of their freaking minds. Let me bring it up. And it's crazy, isn't it? It's like all of a sudden out of nowhere, all these women.
Whoa, ma'am. Get off my stuff. Get off my stuff. Get off. Hey, don't touch my stuff. Do not touch my stuff.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
What are you doing?
He just sprayed her.
Don't touch my stuff again.
Pepper spray. She's losing her mind right now. She wants to scream at him, but she can't. Look at
That's what you get for putting your hands on people.
Well, you know, FAFO, babe.
How do these people think they're immune when they go to do shit like this?
Like I said, dude.
That's where I'll find out.
Like I said, because they grew up in an atmosphere where you had colleges that were demeaning men, right? You had Vinny, get the bat. Yeah, ghost pepper spray. Yeah, for the win. I love that. Ghost pepper for the win. Yeah, because we got more, guys. Oh, there's more. Oh, there's really good ones.
Oh, you could fill a whole show with those clips.
Yeah, but these are good. Like this happened in Philadelphia, right? Let me bring it up. Hold on. Yeah, this was in Philly on the transit system. Jimmy from Philly, if you're there, tell me if you know her. Yeah. So this is really something. Watch this. And these guys are, I think the guy has a channel somewhere. He's like, because she recognized him apparently. What do you
talk shit about Islamic people, you talk shit about black people, you talk shit about Mexicans, and you post it on the internet.
Come here. What am I? Oh, she doesn't want to be on camera
now.
Why not?
Look at these women. They're just nuts.
Whoa. I'll record. All right. Good.
He's like, I'll record it.
Why do you do that? I mean, you're so big.
He knows he's on camera, and she doesn't care.
Whoa.
Look at, she hit him. He has a right to punch her right in the face right now, but he won't because he's a guy and he's not going to. But he has a right to defend himself. Now she's spraying him.
She got the back of my head with pepper spray. That was interesting.
She gets him later.
She's still there.
Fuck you. And
why?
The shit that
She's coming back. You're gonna get fucking. Okay, so her name's Paulina. Paulina Reyes.
There she is. You want to wait? You want to hang out for the cops?
She's coming back. Yeah, she's gonna wait for the cops.
She's coming back. Fascist, and you fucking harass people.
You want to hang out?
That's your fucking problem.
She's the one. Now think about it. She's the one acting like a racist, like a fascist, and she's attacking people.
You want to hang out?
Like you want to hang out?
On the fucking internet.
Whoa.
Go and see.
Why are you so mad?
Why? Because you talk shit about Islamic people, you talk shit about black people, you
She
talk shit
could
about
be charged with crimes,
and you
guys.
post it on the internet.
See that right there?
Come here.
She could be charged with a crime. They were not attacking her at all. They were laughing at her pretty much. Watch this. There you go.
Good? Second pepper spray, baby. Better than ever. If you would like to contribute so we could get a car and not get harassed on buses, searchmedia.us.
All right, we're not going to do that, but we got another one too. These are great. Here's another unhinged, totally unhinged women. It's like, wow, who would have thought, right? Let's see, here we go.
Ass. Punch a man. I will dead ass. Punch a man in the face with a fucking screwdriver. If he tries to talk some fertilization president shit in front of me.
What does that mean?
I will dead ass. Punch a man in the face with a fucking screwdriver. If he tries to talk some fertilization president shit in front of me.
Fertilization.
If he tries to talk some fertilization
president shit in front of me. What does that mean?
What does it even mean?
I will dead ass punch a man in the face with a fucking screwdriver if he tries to talk some fertilization president shit in front of me.
Okay.
I think the word after fertilization is not president. I can't tell what it is though.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. No Italians on the bus. Yeah, it's absolutely assault. You're right.
Hey,
right. Suburbia will be just as easy.
I've got one in which I have a personal interest here. It's in the list up above. Forcing doctors to perform abortions.
Yeah, they are. Well, in some places they wanted to. But let's go over forcing.
Yeah, I'd like to see that.
Forcing doctors to perform abortions. Right. Let's see. So here we go. Keep abortion safe and legal. It was never legal federally. Forcing doctors to perform abortions isn't as popular as Democrats think it is. Most Americans believe that healthcare professionals who have religious objections to abortion should not be forced to perform them, according to an annual Knights of Columbus Marist poll released Thursday. The poll found that the majority of Americans, 63%, think healthcare professionals who object to abortions due to religious reasons should not be legally required to provide them, while 88% of those surveyed believe that laws can protect both the mother as well as her unborn child. Meanwhile, 67% of respondents said they support placing legal limits on abortion, while 57% would back limiting abortions to the first 3 months of pregnancy at most. See, what a lot of these people, they still don't get it. The Supreme Court said that the federal government can't even talk about it because it's a states' rights thing. So you could have states. I mean, and you want to know something? I'm pro-life, but if a state has enough people that vote that they want to have abortion in the state, guess what? That's the law. I would then, if I was an activist, I would then do everything I can to convince people the other side. What these assholes on the left do is they just want to force you. They don't want democracy. What they always scream they want, that they don't want it. They want what they want, and when they can get it. So, despite the publicly heated debates about abortion, there remains a consensus of opinion on this issue among Americans. Of course, they shoved it down everybody's throat for 50 years. Americans believe abortion should be limited, yet include exceptions for raised incest or to save the life of the mother. Yes, that's quite reasonable. Okay, despite the changes in practice that have occurred since the Supreme Court's landmark Dobbs decision, public opinion has remained consistent, right? Because we weren't messing around. Moreover, the poll also showed that 84% of U.S. adults support pregnancy resource centers. The Knights of Columbus Marist poll continues to show that a majority of Americans support legal restrictions on abortion. Knights of Columbus Supreme Knight Patrick Kelly said in a statement, at the same time, a growing majority support pregnancy resource centers, which provide assistance to mothers and their children in their time of greatest needs. So let's see. Is it Columbus Catholic? Is it a Catholic thing? Oh, it's a Catholic fraternal service organization. Okay. In January 2024, former President Joe Biden's administration released a final rule which partially rescinded the conscience rule from 2019, of course, during President Donald Trump's first administration, that would have cut off federal funding to healthcare facilities that required employees, because they get all those donation dollars from Planned Parenthood, who gets all their money from us, right? So we are paying for all of this shit, right? To provide services they objected to, such as abortions, contraception, gender-affirming care, and sterilization. Okay. Trump's Department of Health and Human Services on Wednesday announced new enforcement and policy actions. See, elections have consequences, aiming to safeguard federal healthcare provider conscience rights and protect the dignity of human life, according to a news release. Paula M. Stenard, director of HHS Office for Civil Rights, said in a statement that OCR will continue to protect federal conscience rights and the dignity of human life. See, the conservatives are like, okay, look, if you want to have an abortion, you're going to have the abortion. We'll try to talk you out of it. We're not going to force you, right? We're not going to force you to do anything. The left wants to force you to do everything.
But here's what I don't understand.
What's
okay. Doctors go through training. Okay. Right. And if somebody comes into a doctor's office who doesn't do abortions, the doctor says, I don't do abortions.
Right.
It's not, it's like going to your GP and demanding a heart transplant.
Right. Oh, Bobbity's leaving? See you, Bobby.
I don't understand where the conflict come from. I don't do them. I didn't, maybe or maybe not. I attended in, my residency, but I haven't done them. I just don't do them. I'm not trained to do them. If I did one, I would not be covered by my insurance, and I could be sued into oblivion.
Right.
So that's why I don't understand this whole thing about forcing doctors to perform abortions or any other particular procedure. I remember when I was in, actually it was when I was posted in Germany, there was one woman who wanted her son, her newborn, to be circumcised. And as it happened, the pediatrician and the general surgeon who were posted over there. The pediatrician was obviously not a military, was a civilian on military contract.
Okay.
But they didn't do circumcisions. They just, it's like the general surgeon said, I don't do elective procedures on a patient who can't consent.
Right.
And she was going on like some of the ladies in the videos you showed. She was table thumping, angry, and she was going to sue somebody, and it was this and that. And how can they do that? He doesn't do them.
Right.
You want him to do something on your newborn baby that he's not trained to do because he never did them?
Right.
I mean, what don't I understand about this whole?
Right. Well, it's political. It always was. Now let me do this one first. Hold on. This is the one. now Tucker Carlson's a racist because he did this, but this is interesting. Let me see if it's on screen. Yeah, it is. Okay. So here you go.
This is my hair on minoxidil.
Damn, I gotta do
this
it. Sorry,
is my hair on finasteride. And this is my hair on this new app.
Forced me to go through that, except this one now.
Think diabetes is just about sugar?
Here we go.
Think again.
All right, those were the numbers. So here's what they were. The biggest city in the United States then and now is New York City. New York City in 1950 was 90% white. 71 million New Yorkers out of 7.9 million were white. Chicago in 1950 was 86% white. Philadelphia, over 80%. Los Angeles, 94% white. 94% white. That's almost an ethno state, actually, at that point. Detroit, Michigan, home of Ford, GM, and Chrysler, 84% white. Baltimore, steel and shipping capital of the Mid-Atlantic, 76% white.
Yep.
That was 1950. You know people who were alive in 1950. Maybe you were. Here are the numbers today. Baltimore, 27% white. Detroit, about 10% white, down from 84. Los Angeles, again, 94%, about 37% white now. Philadelphia, 36%. Chicago, less than 30%. And New York City, again, the biggest city in the country, is now around 30% white, down from 90% in 1950.
And that was it. Now, I don't want to get into an argument about all this, but could it be that a lot of the white people, the American dream is to move into the suburbs and buy your own home, right? So could it be that a lot of those people moved either white flight or fright or whatever, but they moved out to move into the suburbs, and they have a thing called the Central Business District in every city, and that's where minorities usually move into because they got to get employment. Okay, they got to get a job, and the only people that will hire them are government or people inside an urban center that need the work, right? And which is a shame for the minorities, right? But that's how it is, all right, how it's been. And so now you have all these people, white people, that are moving out. So I don't think what Tucker was talking about was, anti-white racism or anything. No, not at all. I think what happened was the people that were in the 1950s, it was all white people that were living there, right? That it was a city. It was white people that were living there. And then what happens over time, people establish themselves, they get jobs, better jobs, they gain wealth, sell their house in the city and move to the suburbs and live the American dream. Right now, we have a lot of blacks in my city that have moved out here, and they're achieving the American dream.
Yeah,
I just see it as a normal way of American life.
Yeah, I mean, it's not controversial to say that whites have moved out of cities as they became more able to move out of the cities into the suburbs.
Exactly.
I don't think that's controversial. That's just
it's not at all.
Just a fact.
Yeah, it's not at all.
What the Democrats would tell you is that minorities were kept down by demand, and that's why they couldn't move out of the city.
Of course they're going to say that because they,
So it's your fault, Rich.
Yeah, I know it's all my fault. I knew that from the beginning, and I'm sorry.
It's all the white men in the world. It's all their fault.
All right, let's pick on Gavin Newsom. So Gavin Newsom was grilled on Trump's admin's insults The Treasury Secretary described you as Patrick Bateman meets Sparkle Johnson. So let's see what he has to say.
The Treasury Secretary described you as Patrick Bateman meets Sparkle Beach Ken. The White House Communications Director.
That was the U.S. Secretary of Treasury.
I have a couple more, and then
first of all, Gavin Newsom has no reason being there. He went there because why? Why do you think? He's running for president.
Well, yeah, and he's trying to find a way around the fact that everybody's leaving his state, and he's trying to make some deals separately with other countries to get
the Treasury Secretary
can't do that.
Well, he can't, but he is.
Exactly. That's exactly right. And I think he did it intentionally so that the Trump administration would go after him for it. And then he'd be able to play the victim and how he's only trying to get deals for his people in the state. And then Trump will literally, and like most Republicans, go, okay, I'm sorry, please don't hurt me, to the press. But Trump, his people will just come back and go, yeah, and it's illegal. What's your problem?
Secretary described you as Patrick Bateman meets Sparkle Beach Ken. The White House Communications Director.
That was the U.S. Secretary of Treasury.
I have a couple more, and then you can respond. The White House Communications Director called you Gavin Newsom and an official White House account, a federal government account, described you with I'd say very online sexual slur that people here probably don't want to hear at 8:30 in the morning. And you're in some sense responding in kind, and waving the knee pads around.
Fire with fire.
Do you think?
Yeah, well, he says he fights fire with fire, but you heard about the knee pads, right? He brought Trump knee pads in red, right? Now, why would you actually, think about it. He says, well, I put the knee pads out because they were making fun of me. No, you brought the knee pads before they insulted you. You had no idea they were going to insult you. So don't fucking lie. He brought them with him. What did he, phone in an order after they insulted him while he's there at Davos? And
Amazon. Amazon overnight.
Exactly.
Amazon
Exactly.
overnight.
Yeah, Amazon, right? So now let's get to this one. This is Besson, who I like a lot. All right, here we go. So
very ironic that Governor Newsom, who strikes me as Patrick Bateman meets Sparkle Beach Ken, may be the only Californian who knows less about economics than Kamala Harris.
Right.
He's here this week with his billionaire sugar daddy, Alex Soros.
he was. He took photographs with Alex Soros. Dude, read The Country. The country does not like George Soros, and they certainly don't like his son.
And the Davos is a perfect place for a man who, when everyone else was on lockdown, when he was having people arrested for going to church, he was having $1,000 a night meals at the French Laundry. And I'm sure the California people won't forget that. And I can tell my message to Governor Newsom is the Trump administration is coming to California. We are going to crack down on waste, fraud, and abuse.
Yeah.
And I was told he was asked to give a speech on his signature policies, but he's not speaking because what have his economic policies brought? Outward migration from California, a gigantic budget deficit, the largest homeless population in America, and the poor folks in the Palisades who had their homes burned down. He is here hobnobbing with the global elite while his California citizens are still homeless.
Right.
Shame on him. He is too smug, too self-absorbed, and too economically illiterate to know anything.
Right.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, Gavin Newsom.
Economically illiterate. I'd say that.
Well, that covered it.
Is that true or
No, he
does
is.
he just not care?
Well, he has think about it. He has destroyed his state even worse than it was.
Yeah, you've got to think that anybody who would suggest giving billionaires a haircut and not expecting the billionaires to object. And, some of them were going to pay many millions of dollars. And it's like, okay, it's going to cost me less than that to buy a place in Florida and call that my permanent residence.
Right. Right.
And then all the companies that are moving out. I heard that like everyday people like McDonald's are closing down, Target's closing down.
Well, in California, the reason why is because they had that less than 900, was it $950?
Yeah.
It's a misdemeanor.
Yeah.
So everybody's robbing shit. Well, they say, you know what? We can't afford to be here anymore. We're losing money. I mean, Nike left. One of the Nike plants left. What is it? The not CVS, the other one, Rite Aid. They're gone, and the other one begins with a G. I can't remember. They're gone as well. All these pharmacies are gone because it just went in. They would bring bags and just throw shit in and walk out. Nobody was touching them.
Okay.
So they can't make any money. Yeah. Did you hear? I'm not going to play it, but did you hear? Michelle Obama condemned white-owned brands for clothing. What? And she did it while she was wearing an outfit that was like, I think it was like $12,000 or something, and the designer was a white woman. But I mean, she was on a podcast, and the reason I'm not playing it's because I didn't understand by what I listened. Well, maybe I will play it because I don't understand how the story. And I'm not defending Michelle Obama, God forbid, but I mean,
hang on one sec.
Sure.
Companies leaving California: Tesla, Oracle, Chevron, Hewlett Packard.
Oh, cool. Hold on. Linda, you're going to be on 42 tomorrow? Nice. Very cool. I'm definitely going to be there anyway, but that would be cool. You should come on here sometime. I offered you to come on. 5, 10 years. Let's see. Let's see. Who's leaving? I don't even see who's leaving. Oh, Special K. All right, man. See you, man. Thanks for being here. In case you're still listening. See you, brother. Yeah, let me see. So go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to find a good list because it's not just Tesla and Oracle. It's people like McDonald's.
Oh yeah.
Target. Toyota.
This is what got me. You had.
Oh wait, Domino's.
Yeah.
Pizza Hut. Papa John's.
Right. They're all leaving because they can't make any money because of the theft. But here's what gets me, Jade. So
Anheuser-Busch is closing its Budweiser factory.
So the California people, they vote in. I know Bob Eddie didn't, but the California people vote in anything less than $950 as a misdemeanor, and you don't get arrested in California for a misdemeanor. Okay. That's a known thing too. So they do that. They cause all of these pharmacies, because they all went into the pharmacies, because they don't just sell drugs, they sell all kinds of shit. And so they go in there and all their necessities, that you need, they just go in and throw shit into bags and walk out. All right. So you do it enough and the company has to leave. They can't afford that. Right. So then you have these politicians, California politicians who are out there saying, wow, it's racism. It's like, what? Well, now we have black communities that don't have a place to go for their drugs. Well, you should have thought about that before you allowed a law to go in that said that they could rob the stores. You didn't think that through, did you? That's the problem with libnuts. They go, well, you know what? We have a problem with a lot of people that are going to prison for theft. So here's how we'll do it. We'll make it so that they don't go to prison if they steal below $950. Problem solved. Let's move on to the next problem. That's what libnuts always frickin' do. They always go, all right, we got a problem. Let's fix it. All right, come up with a solution. All right, next problem. They never follow through.
It's the simplistic thinking of let's raise taxes. Oh, that's going to, that'll obviously bring in.
Yeah, we'll get more money to spend.
Yeah.
Right. And we'll be able to buy more votes. So the point is, is Dawn here? If she is, happy birthday. Let's call it. So they caused the problem. Politicians, they caused this problem. And then they blame racism because stores got to leave. In other words, they're supposed to be there and eat the losses. Right? And I mean, does that make any sense whatsoever? And yet the media treats them like they're brilliant.
Yeah, it makes sense to a socialist.
Yeah, to a libnut, it makes sense. Right? The answer is take that law away. Rescind it. But they can't. You know why? Because they play the race identity card shit. You know, identity politics is all they know. And so if more minorities, I guess, well, that's what you see on all the videos, but maybe the video camera guy was racist. Yeah. So you see them all. It's like people in the hood that go into these stores, they rob them blind, they leave. I'm not even talking about the smash and grabs because they got really organized, right? You got to almost admire it. You know, they're in and out in like 45 seconds. They get like $30,000 worth of jewelry. You know, holy shit, smash and grabs, right? But I'm talking about like now these neighborhoods, the real people, okay? The real people, not the criminals in black neighborhoods, the real people. Now they don't have a pharmacy to go to in their neighborhood. Now that old lady, instead of walking down the street to get her drugs, she has to like take an Uber or something, you know? I mean, it's awful. But then even where the Uber would take her, now they're not there either because the whole corporation pulled out. What other state are they doing that? They've been saying that in Philly since the 70s. Saying what? Yeah, because I grew up in Roxborough, same place as Louis. Yeah. And Gina also was from Roxborough. She's from Philly as well. Yeah, we don't hold that against you, Lou. Don't worry about it. So, oh, you're from Albany. Cool. Northeast. Nice. Yeah. Albany was really nice back in the day. I don't know what it is now, but it was really nice at one time. So was Roxborough. Now I wouldn't drive through there with my windows down during the day. Yeah. Yeah, they do. They have to stay or else, you know. I mean, what are these people going to do now? And yet they want to blame race. Think about that. They're blaming racism to avoid themselves. Let me go down this. I don't understand. Like the whole thing is saying that Michelle Obama, maybe because I don't understand the whole clothing industry. You know, I don't understand that shit. But they're saying that she said, you know, don't buy from white, you know, people that, well, here, this girl's good. But I don't understand. But I don't, and I hear what she's saying, but I don't understand.
I think we should be mindful and make sure that we're not purchasing clothes made by Black designers. We need to pay attention to who's in our closets. Oh, I'm sorry. Was that racist?
If I hear of someone whose fashion that I like, and I know that they're a person of color, I try to make it a point. But the clothes have to be available. Right. You know, I think we can all do some work to think about that balance in our wardrobes. You know, what does our closet look like and who's in it? Mm-hmm. Who are we supporting in it? Right. You know, and I think if you have the money to buy Chanel, mm-hmm. then you have the money to buy everybody. Right. And so.
No. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jade. I think what she's trying to say is you should buy from Black businesses to support Black business owners.
Yeah, I think that's what she's getting at because Coco Chanel, of course, is white.
Right. But I can understand her saying that. What I don't like is that if a white person said something similar,
well, that's why
white-owned businesses, you're a racist. Well, why is it not racist the other way? Well, because they don't make a lot of money. No, you were the fucking first husband of the United States. So don't tell me that you didn't make it. You know, Oprah Winfrey's the richest Black woman, well, the richest woman, I think, in the world. Billions. So don't tell me that you gotta support. You can support who you like. Why not just buy the fucking clothes that you like? Why do you got to bring race into everything? Because she's a race hustler like her husband. But seriously, what is the point of being a race hustler when it comes to if you like something, buy it. Who gives a shit if what the person's race is? I think that's what she says.
Let us be mindful. I think would be my advice. Yeah.
Why do they hate white people so much? What a disgusting thing to say. What a racist thing to say. And Michelle Obama, since you're going to preach at us not to wear clothes from white designers, you better not be wearing clothes from white designers, right? Oh, wait, this skirt she's wearing is made by Amelia Wickstead. That costs over $1,000 and is a white designer. The Democrats are so racist. They hate white people. Because truly, imagine if I said this about Black people. Like, imagine if I was like, I'm not going to buy this because it's a Black designer.
Yeah, we
How
kind of
about
get
we
away
just
from that
buy
shit.
what we like? Why
There you
this
go.
hyper focus on race?
Buy what you
It's
like.
So gross. The Democrats are everything they claim we are.
Right.
Racist.
Right. I mean, think about it. Who gives a shit if the person that makes it is black or white? It shouldn't matter. You like it, you're going to buy it. I mean, isn't that consumerism? I don't get it. Big Mike. Yeah.
That's how capitalism works. You make a better product and it gets, makes you a lot of money. So.
It's all gay, Rich. Don't get involved. No, I won't.
Okay, I think we've done our bit.
It is that time, guys. Do me a favor, hit that like button before you go, please. If you haven't already, it helps. Let me see what we got going here. Whew. Yeah, we got 23 up. Good. Thank you guys for being here. Again, you know that I know you could be anywhere, but you spend time with us. I love you for it. I love every single one of you. I will see you guys tomorrow night if you're on 40s gig. I will definitely hang out again. It was I had a good time last week just listening to all the stuff. I always learn something when I listen to him. But yeah, I'm wondering where he is tonight. He's probably lurking in the background, as he says. Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you very, very much. We will talk to you later. Watch my videos during the week. Bring a friend next week, please.
Come back next week. Come back next week. Bring a friend.
God bless everybody. I'll see you. Have a good one.